In the morning when I'm driving, I really come alive when I listen to my Ronnie, I listen to my Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air, it's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. In the morning while I'm driving, Ronnie, I really come alive when it's time for Ronnie Q. I listen to my Ronnie, Ronnie. I listen to my Ronnie. It's time for Ronnie Q. Take a seat and go meet Ronnie. Sweet, 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 sweet Ronnie. No day complete without my Ronnie. She can't be beat. Sweet, sweet Ronnie.
Grand Rising, thank you guys for being here. I hope you had a great night. If you can hit the like button, I would greatly appreciate that. So, hey Bernice, Grand Rising. Dr. Soapy, it is good to see you. Queen Diva, thank you for being here. So, what do you guys have anything on your mind that you want to talk about before I go into what I'm going to go into? Feel free. I guess y'all said you supposed to be entertaining us, so we don't have anything for you. What is this? Okay. So I forgot to share something with you guys yesterday about waste, fraud, and abuse. I thought that 4547 was trying to get rid of race, fraud, and abuse. Doesn't seem like it though. So I'm going to share this with you. It's just weird how these billionaires can waste money and think nothing of it. It's weird how these billionaires can be at work and treat people as if they're abject slaves as well. So I didn't share this with you yesterday, but I wanted you to see exactly what type of waste, fraud, and abuse that is really going on over there. Now, also, I heard yesterday that they removed the FBI director from his ATF position. He was also standing in as the head of the ATF, and he had never been to the building since he's been, just what do they, Senate voted him in to the FBI position, which included the ATF position. So they had to get rid of him. I guess he's too busy scrubbing the JFK files so Pam Bondi can get those out. I guess he's too busy finding agents to take away to go and hunt down the lawyers of student protesters. I guess, the FBI is very busy being FBI-ish during this term. So, let me remove this and make sure you guys are, yes, you are hearing me. You are hearing me. Oh. You guys can hear me. You like me. You really, really like me. Let me quit clowning. Okay, let me show you this abuse and waste. And do you know that they are trying to get a new budget for the Pentagon of $1 trillion? And he said that like it's like, no biggie. $1 trillion with Hegseth over the Pentagon. And we know that Hegseth hasn't seen a budget that he hasn't liked to run into the negative with alleged misdealings. Hegseth, I'm surprised Hegseth hasn't even stolen enough money to get some decent suits around there. While they're asking Zelensky, who's in the middle of a war, about his suits, how come they haven't been on Hegseth's ass? He must have gotten the word about that goddamn pocket square with the American flag on it. At least I saw him with a different pocket square on. But he's up there with these tight suits on and just poorly made suits and tight suits, and I'm just like, where he think he going to? Where he think he going with these little tight suits on? Unprofessional looking ass motherfucker. I don't know. But they need to do something real different with Hegseth. Okay, so let me, since they want to find waste, fraud, and abuse, maybe they can look in the agencies of this administration that has their workers out here doing the dumbest shit in the world. Okay. Hey, M. Renee. Good to see you. A view is a view. Good to see you. Okay. So let's delve into this. I haven't heard this talked about a lot. Oh Lord, Rachel Maddow does some real good work. Her and her producer, they definitely do some good work. I have always been a fan of her work, so let's get into it.
So here's this podcaster tent revival guy, right? With the merchandise branded with his name and the bottles of snake oil that he'll sell you and the children's books about Donald Trump being a king. That is who Donald Trump puts in charge of the FBI. When he gets there, he tells the agents of the FBI, essentially, hey, listen, don't worry. I know I'm an outsider, but I respect what you do enough that we're going to pick one of you guys, an experienced FBI agent, to be my deputy in running this place. Sure, maybe I'm just a podcaster, but we'll put somebody in here as my number two who you'll really trust. And then does he do that? No, he does not. He hires instead, as the deputy director of the FBI, another podcaster. This burly man.
Okay, so are you guys familiar with Dan Bongino? Oh, he is the worst. He's another Hegseth with overly patriotic with a flag on every piece of clothing, which is supposed to represent that he's all about American ways and values, and on every fucking piece of clothing he wears has an American flag on there. You know, this shit, if this shit wasn't so comical, it would be sad, but it's scary. It's scary. And these are the people who are over our FBI. No wonder they are doing the biddings of Pam Bondi, who has them out there doing all of this shit that has nothing to do with the FBI actual jobs. So he's on every right wing show spewing all of this far right rhetoric. Let's continue.
Whose whole kind of
Hold on 1 second. I think I messed up something. I was doing this all day yesterday too.
You know, I was skeptical at first with the existing condition.
I was doing this all day yesterday too.
You know, I was skeptical at first
Sure
with the
did.
existing condition.
I was doing this all day yesterday. Try this one more time. Here we go. Okay.
podcaster tent revival guy, right? With the merchandise branded with his name and the bottles of snake oil that he'll sell you and the children's books about Donald Trump being a king. That is who Donald Trump puts in charge of the FBI. When he gets there, he tells the agents of the FBI, essentially, hey, listen, don't worry, I know I'm an outsider, but I respect what you do enough that we're going to pick one of you guys, an experienced FBI agent, to be my deputy in running this place. Sure, maybe I'm just a podcaster, but we'll put somebody in here as my number two who you'll really trust. And then does he do that? No, he does not. He hires instead, as the deputy director of the FBI, another podcaster. This burly man, whose whole kind of brand as a podcaster is that he's kind of burly. His whole shtick is man in tight t-shirt, talks about fighting a lot and makes a lot of melodrama about the importance of physical toughness and being willing to die heroically for the cause. And of course, the cause is the greatness and infallibility of Donald Trump. Wow, does he love that guy? But he means it only in the manliest way possible. Look at these arms. It's like his whole shtick. So Kash Patel, podcaster, names this other podcaster guy to be deputy director of the FBI instead of actually hiring anyone with FBI experience. But now that deputy director, he too has started on the job. And how is that going so far? Headline: FBI creates multi-agent bodyguard team to protect Dan Bongino. The former pro-Trump podcaster is the first deputy director to have a security detail. Full-time protection could require up to 20 agents, former officials said. Quote, in a break from past practice, in which the Bureau's number two officials have not had security details, the FBI has now issued a call for agents to serve as bodyguards for Deputy Director Dan Bongino. The FBI canvass sought agents willing to relocate for 30 days of temporary duty to protect Dan Bongino 24 hours a day. Full-time protection could require as many as 20 agents. The previous deputy director was assigned a single agent part-time to accompany him to certain events. He had a full detail only when he traveled overseas. In contrast, though, now, two former FBI officials familiar with the matter said Dan Bongino's current bodyguards have followed him inside secure FBI facilities, including headquarters in Washington. They said directors typically walk around FBI headquarters.
That was a Freudian slip. They said, Dick, no, you meant that they follow him in the bathroom to hold his dick and everything else. I thought this was such a manly man, a former New York City cop. I thought that he was so manly, wasting money. Can you believe this 20-person detail, 24 hours a day? Surely he has somebody humming on his balls at night to put him to sleep, sticking a finger up his ass to make sure that he's pacified. Let's continue.
Headquarters without their security details. But not this deputy director, not this podcaster. He wants the full 24 hours, 20-man team surrounding him at all times, including while he's walking around inside the FBI building. Because, what? Like spiders? Creaking sounds? Is there any chance you just hate to be alone? I mean, we are in this everything must go moment, right? In this administration, we can no longer fund libraries.
Well, the thing is, he's in a position where he can pay to have people be around him. The only way that people would be around him. People just are not going to be around him. He doesn't bring people to him with all of this old fake war, mad dog talk. So now that he's in a position that it doesn't come out of his pocket, he can pay to have 20 people around him. I bet he gives want to tell all these lame stories and act as if they're bros with each other in the whole 9 yards. That's what it is. Somebody who is people repellent has the opportunity to be surrounded with people and be at the center of attention around this group of people as well. This is what it is. It's ego. Let's continue. At a time when we can't pay for what?
Libraries or museums. We must stop our work on multi-drug resistant tuberculosis and drug-resistant gonorrhea. We are closing the Head Start offices. We are firing the meteorologists who produce weather forecasts. We are firing the people who answer the phones at the Social Security office. We are firing tens of thousands of people who work with veterans at the VA. We are shutting the U.S. Department of Education because everything must go. It's all waste.
Hold on. Did she say that we are firing people to work at the veterans office at the VA? Oh, say, can you? No, you can't see. They don't give a fuck about you. All right, let's continue. I pledge allegiance to a fool of the United States of America. Let's continue.
It's all waste. It all has to go because we, the taxpayers, must pay for Kash Patel's new drapes in his office. His nice new decor.
Not drapes and decor. I wonder, does his drapes and decor even match? I wonder if he would notice if his drapes and decor even match. Maybe his drapes is on the left side and his decor is on the right, kind of skewed down, and that's how he can see that they match. You know, because the eyes kind of go to the left and to the right, skewed down. The Miss O-ish eye. So he's worried about his decor. Hey, Miss 313, thank you for your membership. I appreciate it. It's good to see you. Okay, let me quit telling you about Kash Patel. I know you've seen him looking like a toddler, a petulant toddler at different hearings.
Core that he demanded on day one, and also the cost of him, what was that phrase, of him spending?
Not day one. He demanded his decor on day one. Well, goddamn, at least, what's his name? Ben Carson had the decency to buy this overly expensive decor for his office. At least he waited at least 6 or 8 months into his term. But day one, they're getting you on day one of decor. This is very important. I thought he was going to shut the FBI down and make it a museum for the deep state. What happened to that? I guess the deep state needed drapes. Let me continue.
What was the quote? Quote, a lot of time in Las Vegas, where he won't even be enjoying the new drapes. Also, we have to pay for his deputy director, Dan Bongino, the podcaster with the arms. We'll be paying for him to be surrounded at all times by a full-time phalanx of a 20-man team of bodyguards who stay with him 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, like, while he sleeps, they can sit and watch him. And while he's inside the FBI headquarters building at work, inside, they will be there surrounding him in case, like, he has to get up and go potty or something. There's a team that can take him.
It's hard to put into words the horrors that we've witnessed every day during our time here. Entire families coming to the emergency department, injured.
He'll finally look like the cool guy with a gaggle of people following behind him as if they were his friends and want to be there. No, you're not the cool guy. You're the person who's fleecing the government out of money because you're so insecure. That's who you are. We see you. Okay. Something's wrong. Okay, I have it. Let's continue.
But it's not only Trump's guys at the FBI. Headline, the cabinet secretary who wants his cookies freshly baked. Trump administration Interior Secretary Doug Burgum likes chocolate chip cookies, preferably freshly baked and still warm. This peculiar fact became the talk of the Department of the Interior in recent weeks after his chief of staff made an unusual request of staff in his office. Quote, learn to regularly bake cookies for Secretary Burgum and his guests using the industrial ovens at the department headquarters. That request was not the only move by his team that has alarmed some Interior officials. 4 people familiar with Burgum's leadership told The Atlantic that those who run Burgum's office have repeatedly made unusual demands to his employees. His office leadership, for example, once instructed political appointees to act as servers for a multi-course meal.
Okay, so you do understand that this is a billionaire. And you do see why this shit is crazy. You're at job and somebody asks you to act as a server. I'd have served him up a tongue lashing. Thank you, Miss 313, for the helping me towards my goals. Well, he said that Satan will come back as the head of state. Well, it said state. You know what, Dr. Soapy, the defendant attorney came out with a link yesterday. I played him over here talking about different things. The defiant attorney. That's it, what he is. And he came out with something yesterday. I haven't finished it. I got through the first part of it where he's comparing exactly what's going on right now with a chapter of Revelations. Let me find his let me find the link because it was interesting. And then I don't know what happened, but let me find his page. I think this is here. Yes, it is. The Defiant Lawyers Network. I'm going to drop you the link to that. Have you heard of that? Or do you already, it seems like you already know of that. I don't know. Okay, the title of this video is The Bible Says America Will Collapse. What should you do? And then he goes into it. He said, no, the word America is not found in the Bible, but he's correlating different events. I'm going to have to go back through and finish this video. Here you go, Dr. Sobey. He's correlating events in the Bible with heads of states and all of this type of stuff. If you want to watch it, there's a link to that video. But you reminded me about that. I have to finish that. Hey, Liz. Good to see you. But some people already can correlate that. You know, I'm so removed from church. There's the link, Dr. Sophie. I dropped it. He's a civil rights attorney, and he, breaks down different rulings and laws and stuff, and he's breaking that down. Thank you, Dr. Sophie. I'm glad you learned something. Yeah, you're welcome. You're more than welcome. Okay, so let's continue with this billionaire.
They also did, like, waiters. They made them into waiters. They also
servers and waiters. Okay. Can you imagine?
Dispatched a U.S. Park Police helicopter for his personal transportation. On at least one occasion, a political appointee was told to remake the cookies because the batch was subpar, according to 3 people. The Atlantic has 3 sources on the Interior Department staff member being told to rebake the cookies for the secretary. What did they do with the old cookies? What was wrong with them? Is there anything you could do to cookies that would be that bad? Now, there are sources from the Department of Interior that are defending Secretary Burgum here, noting explicitly in their pushback to the Atlantic that staff members are not required to make this cookie dough themselves. It is store-bought cookie dough that they only need to bake. So ease up, people. Quote, Burgum has also used the political appointees in his department for another purpose in recent days, stacking firewood.
So it's not like I'm making them make them from scratch. I mean, what is the problem? They don't have to make them from scratch. Why do you guys have an issue? Man.
But in his office's fireplace, Burgum also reportedly demands, quote, that any labels get removed from water bottles before they are delivered to him. Or else.
From his staff. This is from his staff. That's who delivers the water bottle, his staff. And he will have a tirade if you don't remove the, I'll go get some tap water out the sink and deliver it to him in a glass.
Or else. I mean, the man obviously cannot remove the labels from his own water bottles. That must be done by other government employees, people on the payroll paid by the taxpayers, because, I mean, think about it. Honestly, if the secretary himself was occupied removing his own water bottle labels, he might not get to the cookies in time. And then who would send them back, demanding that they were not warm enough and they must be rebaked? The secretary is in charge of some really specific stuff. Tell me more about your Department of Government Efficiency. I mean, at the National Park Service, they're firing the rangers and the maintenance crews and scientists by the thousands. But Park Service helicopters, including the staff that fly them and maintain them, they're being diverted to pop secretary warm cookies around town when he's in a rush. You know, honestly, it's so much nicer than sitting in traffic. Quote, the aviation unit of the U.S. Park Police, a division of the Department of the Interior, does not routinely handle VIP transport, according to a U.S. Park Police fact sheet. The blue and white helicopters launched to provide additional aerial surveillance during presidential and other dignitary movements and are used for medevac, search and rescue, high-risk prisoner transport, and to support law enforcement operations. And also to make sure he is there in time for the cookies to still be warm, or they are going back. Do it again!
I thought that was quite interesting myself. I really did. I think that is shows the ridiculousness of what goes on in this administration. Grand Rising, Miss Queenie, good to have you here. Now, of course, you guys know that, as expected, 45, 47. Caved after making I'm not worried about the millionaires and billionaires. She's a trip. Do it again. These cookies are tepid. I want warm cookies. No more wire hangers. I want warm cookies. Cookies. I'm going to start calling him Cookie Monster. Cookies. She is. She is. Okay. Okay. So after I'm not worried about the rich people because they some of them do this and he did put out a notice that he was doing it on purpose. So it is alleged that the Commerce Secretary, that is how he got rich, by playing the market when it was short, making all of his money when the markets crash. So don't insult Cookie Monster like that. Cookie Monster would never misuse government personnel. So I don't know. So he said it was so much back and forth. No negotiation. No, there's no negotiation. They're going on and they're going permanent, and all of this brouhaha, which none of which he even knew about what he was doing. Let's be clear, he had no idea what he was doing. I'm not worried about what the market lost. I'm worried about what people lost in their 401ks. That's what I'm worried about. That's the thing that I most worry about. And yeah, that shit is really fucked up. For no other reason than he decided to do something that was unnecessary. So let's see the backpedaling and pussy popping of it all. Okay. Let me share this screen. I'm just going to play one person explain the backpedaling and pussy popping of it all. Here we go.
Trump backed down. That was the New York Times headline today when Trump backed down, as predicted exactly 24 hours ago on this program. I mean, I didn't say it was going to be today. I didn't know that. But I did say the only way this was going to end, the only way was with Donald Trump backing down in the next few days, I suggested last night, or in a few months. The moron, as Elon Musk calls him, was nowhere to be seen in the media opportunities at the White House surrounding the great event of Donald Trump backing down today. Donald Trump's tariff advisor, Peter Navarro, was reportedly not in the room in the Oval Office when Donald Trump was composing his tweet that would revive the stock market today. But Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was. And it was the Treasury Secretary standing alone beside the White House press secretary in the White House driveway for the dramatic televised version of the announcement heard around the world today. In what turned out to be the biggest media day of the year at the Trump White House, Elon Musk was nowhere to be seen. Elon Musk was silent today about the biggest news that Donald Trump has made in his presidency. Donald Trump backing down from his trade war was even bigger news than Donald Trump starting his trade war. And Elon Musk was silent about what Donald Trump did today. Yesterday, Elon Musk was calling Donald Trump's chief tariff advisor, Peter Navarro, a moron and saying that he was, quote, dumber than a sack of bricks. And then, of course, apologizing for insulting bricks. Yesterday, Elon Musk was enlisting his little brother to attack Peter Navarro and Donald Trump about the Trump tariffs directly. But today, Elon Musk was silent. But Kimball Musk.
To understand, Elon Musk was silent because he decided to yesterday as well. I don't know if you guys know this story. Help me meet my goals, because y'all may not know this story. Trouble in Paradise. It was a matter of time. Maybe he's silent. He has gone radar dead since he decided to play, I forget the name of that game that he said that he was an expert at, and tried to make a big deal that he was the number one player and this, that, and the other. And come to find out, he was paying another gamer to play for him. Now, why this is important to Elon Musk, but it's very important to Elon Musk. So after it got out that he was actually paying another gamer to get his scores. Hey, Jin Win, I'm too scared to check my 403B. I'm looking to retire very soon, and that is my point. For people who are about to retire, uh, they have to make some decisions. Ronnie Q, I will. This is what today's briefing at work is about, the tariff mess. Okay. Yeah, and see, that's the only thing that I care about. Like, this is not a game, and they don't, they don't care about how it's hurting regular people who have worked all their lives. They don't care about that shit. They don't care how much money we lost. Oh well, and that ain't no. What was that? You lost $60,000. What? Shit, that ain't shit. You think they give a fuck about somebody who lost $60,000, $70,000, $50,000? They don't give a fuck. Okay, so Elon Musk went back to gaming live on his plane, and they were talking about all the unnecessary things. You could tell that he didn't know how to play the game well, and then you can have other people can live chat in the game with you. He was on his jet, and you could see that he was in his private plane overhead. The lights were overhead, and he's sitting there, and they said, "Oh, look how slow he's moving. Why does he have this battery pack? Why?" And then they start trolling him, and then he after they kept trolling him for so long, he left the game in a mad fit, and he hasn't responded since. And they were talking about how poor of a worker he was in including beyond the game, how poor of a worker he was, and that he needed to go back to work and do something positive, all types of shit. And so that's why you haven't heard from him, because he takes dumb shit like that more seriously than he does the future of people who he was throwing out the door with no notice. So I just wanted you guys to know that. Interesting. She's talking to 313. Interesting. Okay, so let's finish with Lawrence.
Musk was not silent. Kimball Musk, as we have reported to you, is Elon Musk's younger brother, who is a wholly owned subsidiary of Elon Musk and a member of the Tesla board, which means he is unlikely to ever say a word publicly that his old.
And this brother also sold most of his Tesla stock when Tesla was tanking. Let's continue.
Brother and boss does not approve of, and I mean word for word. At 9:47 a.m., a little more than 3 hours before Donald Trump announced that he was backing down, Kimball Musk attacked directly by name J.D. Vance and Donald Trump on Twitter. Kimball Musk identified a tweet by J.D. Vance saying, "It's bizarre to see all the limousine socialists screech desperately for dependence on Chinese supply chains and inflated equities. The Musk brothers and Tesla are entirely dependent on Chinese supply chains." And so Kimball Musk replied to J.D. Vance saying,
and they are also totally dependent upon government subsidy. So what is his point?
Republicans for higher prices. How about that? This Trump tariff tax has driven prices for everyday goods through the roof. J.D. Vance, I read your book. It's good. I'd think you'd have more sympathy for your community's cost of living. Inflation sucks for everyone, but it especially hits our underserved communities the most. And we all know how much.
Our underserved community? The underserved community that your brother wants to service less? That try to take away all the protections like the FD funeral like the board, what is that, that gets people money back when they've been cheated by big banks and big corporations. Your brother don't care about them either. Your brother don't care about none of this. Let's continue.
How much the Musk brothers worry about our underserved communities who cannot afford to buy Teslas. So there's the Musk team at 9:47 a.m. calling it the Trump tariff tax. and saying J.D. Vance and Donald Trump are now the leaders of Republicans for higher prices. Why did Elon Musk shy away from the Twitter battle this morning? When did Elon Musk know that his stock price was going to start climbing back up today because Donald Trump was going to announce that he was backing down? The potential for insider trading on that information today was unlimited. Donald Trump all but
You know, Elon Musk already knew. You know that all of those billionaires that are in the Trump administration already knew. It is so funny. I'm going to have to find this clip that they actually had their, the guy who is in charge of tariffs talking in a hearing up on Capitol Hill when the news broke that he was suspending these tariffs for 90 days. And it was a brother. He was in the middle of being questioned by this lady, and it was a brother. They took it to him to question, and then he said, let me ask you something. Do you know that these tariffs have been suspended? And he goes, yes, I do. And he said, well, yeah, I saw it when you got the message at the same time that I got the message. And he said, no, I knew that there was going to be talks. Well, he said, well, if you knew there was going to be talks about it, and you did your opening statement, how come you didn't tell this committee that there are talks about rescinding the tariffs? And he said, it looks like the rug was pulled from under your feet. He didn't even know that they was going to rescind these tariffs. This motherfucker does not know what he's doing up here. He has fucked off everybody's money for no good reason. And then when enough people, like what is his name? Diamond, who's over, I think he's over Wells Fargo. Jamie Dimon tells him, it's looking real bad. It's looking real bad. Well, when these rich people tell him how bad it's look, he comes out and says that he was looking at the bonds market. The bonds market is where all your rich people go and take their money to put their money aside to buy when the stock market is down. So if that was getting bad, them people was like, hey, you got to do something because it's affecting my hiding spot. I'm going to have to take my shit overseas. And, that's a whole big to do. So that is allegedly why he decided to put a suspension. So how does that help you? What was gained? He came out here and said that we're already seeing trillions of money coming in over the past couple of months. Every month, he said. But the tariffs have been on about a week for some of the tariffs, and then he announced this bigger tariff on some ramshackle pulled out of his ass calculations of what each country owed us. Some calculations that are not founded in anything of reality. These tariffs. Okay, and what about the regular people? I say people voted for this. People voted for this. Ignorant people voted for this.
But admitted that it was in the middle of the night last night that the bond market scare made him realize that his time was up.
Was it the bond markets that persuaded you to reverse course?
I was watching the bond market. The bond market is very tricky. I was watching it, but if you look at it now, it's beautiful. The bond market right now is beautiful. But yeah, I saw last night where people were getting a little queasy.
Of course, he doesn't actually understand the bond market. They weren't getting a little queasy. It was panic, justifiable panic. And the president's morning TV diet didn't help.
This is how to get in shape fast.
If you want to drop this, start eating more of these.
Did you speak with anyone, Jamie Dimon? Did you speak with anyone?
Well, I watched Jamie Dimon on Maria Bartiromo's show this morning, and he was very good.
Here is what Donald Trump heard the head of JP Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, tell him this morning about what was coming if he didn't back down.
How significant would you expect? Do you personally expect a recession?
I am going to defer to my economist at this point, but I think probably that's a likely outcome.
Because markets, I mean, when you see a 2,000 point decline, it sort of feeds on itself, doesn't it? Because it makes you feel like you're losing money in your 401k, you're losing money in your pension.
So imagine Donald Trump with all those White House breakfast pastries spread out in front of him, watching Jamie Dimon and Maria Bartiromo agree that a recession is coming thanks entirely to Donald Trump. The Trump recession had already had a name. As much as Donald Trump loves naming everything after himself, that's the one thing he never wanted named after him, the next recession. But the chances of a recession are still high because after Donald Trump backed down, Goldman Sachs reduced the chances of a recession from 65% down to 45%, which is still dangerously high and much higher than it was on Donald Trump's inauguration day, when exactly no one was predicting a recession was even possible, thanks to the Biden economy that Donald Trump inherited and lied about today.
Joe Biden handed us over a country that was in very serious trouble economically.
Joe Biden handed him the greatest economy any president has ever handed another president. The stock market crash created by Donald Trump could only be reversed by Donald Trump backing down. Donald Trump has twice now proved beyond a reasonable doubt, including today, that the stock market crash was all about him. The first time he proved it was Monday, when CNBC reported on a rumor floated on Twitter that Donald Trump was considering a 90-day pause in his worldwide tariff madness. We showed you how that drama unfolded on CNBC in real time on Monday for about 20 minutes. When the stock market believed that rumor, the stock market just shot straight up. And then CNBC's reliable White House reporter, Eamon Javers, reported that the White House press secretary denied that rumor, and that denial then sank the stock market immediately once again. 2 days later, with the stock market in more danger than ever after a terrifying turn of events in the bond market overnight, Donald Trump announced on Twitter that he was backing down. He announced his 90-day pause that we all know is a forever pause. If you were awake after midnight last night watching Bloomberg's live coverage of what was happening in the bond market overnight around the world, you saw some very dark predictions for what was to come in the stock market today. We know Donald Trump, the admitted insomniac, was awake after midnight when the bond market was crashing. He was probably on the phone with his Treasury Secretary then, who was surely advising him that it was time to give up and back down. And so probably from the approximately midnight last night until 1:18 p.m. today, when Donald Trump announced that he was backing down, Donald Trump, and who knows how many other people in and around the White House, knew that Donald Trump was going to back down. That means they were in possession of the most valuable investment inside information in the world. And that is why some senators were wondering today just how much insider trading might have been going on in and around the Trump White House before Donald Trump made his announcement that sent the stock market skyrocketing back up, but not all the way back up to where it was before Donald Trump started his economic death march of the last 7 days.
Hi, I'm Brett.
Okay.
And I'm Jonathan. This is Darla.
Okay, so that's him taking. I was talking about the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Miss Queenie. That's what I was trying to think of, because I have, that's the bureau that protects people when they have been financially abused by corporations, like such as banks and things like that, who got so he made sure that he closed down that department, but trying to make like he cares about the harm that has been done to everyday people, as his brother just throws people out of their job the day of hiring. No 2-week notices, nothing. Get your shit and get out. You have 30 minutes to clear your office out. All of this type of draconian type of stuff. Can you guys please hit the like button? I would greatly appreciate it. Okay. Now, Jin wants to know, I thought Congress had to vote about this trade traffic fiasco. No, because the first day he came in office, he signed an executive order about the economy because he already knew that was something that he was going to do. Because if it was an emergency, he alone could enact tariffs, and usually it's supposed to be through Congress, Jin. So that's exactly why he enacted a tariff, because it gives him the leverage to do things that he doesn't have to go to Congress to get approval of. He's power hungry. He wants to yield power and say, hey, you're going to do this and you're going to do that, and unnecessarily. So that's what happened with that. Let me remove this. Okay. Now let me see what else I want to talk to you guys about. It's so much that happened. Let me see. So we got to that. This is the back and forth of if the tariffs were negotiable. Now, let's be clear that he said that there will be no negotiation on these tariffs. And he went back and forth, left and right, about, is there or aren't there going to be any negotiations? He definitely said, and his peons came out, oh no, this is not a negotiation tactic. These tariffs, they're going to be on to stay and all of this stuff. Well, I've had so many people calling me, to work out their tariffs, and they have to call me one by one. And I have so many people. He has said he has so many people kissing his ass at that congressional dinner that was the night before last. See, that's all he wants. All he wants is ass kissers. So pledge allegiance to kissing ass, dummies. Okay, let me present this. Yes, here we go.
Pause put in on the tariffs. Can you walk us through what you were thinking about why you decided to put a 90-day pause?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, they were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit.
No, this was
What is yippy?
not some savvy negotiating tactic. Trump capitulated, and don't take it from me, that's actually a direct quote from this Fox News reporter.
The art of the deal, or be cool. He said he was watching the bond market. And that's what decided this. He had to cave. And our very own Charlie Gasparino has been on for the last couple of hours saying that he wished it weren't so, but that the truth is that the White House capitulated.
I don't want to say this because I'm a patriot. I'm an American. But it is the White House who capitulated based on everything I hear and all my sources.
Oh, that's gonna hurt!
You see, if you're just tuning in to the latest episode of This is America, we have more off on tariffs as our fearless leader caves on his alleged non-negotiable tariffs, right, Caroline?
If this was the strategy all along to bring them to the table, why did you instruct or advise, or maybe they did it on their own, some of your top aides to say this is not a negotiation, to hold the line?
The president was asked and answered this yesterday. He said he's not considering an extension or a delay. I spoke to him before this briefing. That was not his mindset. He expects that these tariffs are going to go into effect, and there will be a 90-day pause on the reciprocal tariffs as these negotiations are ongoing, and the tariff level will be brought down to a universal 10% tariff. Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here.
That they were going to hold the line, that you were not going to change your mind.
A lot of times it's not a negotiation until it is.
Hello, I'm Bob Kitchen. I'm the IRC's Vice President of Emergency Programs. Right now I'm standing outside Alex.
A lot of time it's not a negotiation until it is. No, I didn't want to use it as a negotiation. A lot of time it's not a negotiation until it is. Okay, so now she came out there and lied and had to come out there the next day and embarrass her silly self, but I don't think she has a level of embarrassment the way she stands up in front of the podium and tell all the lies that she tells. And Jin also, you would like to know when they voted on that continuing resolution to keep the government financed. Remember, it was supposed to be a government shutdown a couple of weeks ago, and Chuck Schumer and 10 Democrats voted with the Republicans to keep the government open, and it was supposed to be under the same guidelines and budget things that they had. That's why it's called a continuing. But they had the Republicans had went in there and changed a lot of things in there, and one of the things that they changed in that continuous resolution is that Congress would not be able to stop any tariffs that 45-47 put in place. But since this tariffs shit went awry, now Mike Johnson added that in. So since that has gone awry, the Senate, with the help of 7 Republicans, have said that they want the power to suspend. They had to pass a vote to get the power to stop any tariffs, because yes, that is the Congress. That is Congress's job. So since he did this fake financial emergency, and then on top of it, that snake from Louisiana, Mike Johnson, that boy, put in the continuing resolution that they could not stop any of his tariffs that he put in. The Senate had to vote on it. 7 Republicans, including Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell, they voted with the Democrats, and so they are doubtful that Mike Johnson will put it up for a vote. And 45-47 came out and said if it does pass the vote, he's going to veto the bill. It's about power. So all of this to have something that he can enact on the world and have the world come to him and kiss his ass. Okay, that's to be totally complete about why he is the only one who can take these tariffs off and on. Okay, so let me go back a hair. Okay.
Trump is doing here.
That they were going to hold the line, that you were not going to change
A
your
lot
mind.
of times it's not a negotiation until it is.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Yes, more ebbs and flows as the president plays with everyone's 401k like it was his own board game. What did of a board game, right? Oh yeah, it was pulled after Ditamasi, the manufacturer, said, quote, the game was just nailed to the shelf.
Stupid people. Maybe corrupt. I don't know. I don't know how you can be that stupid. How do you get to be president and you're stupid?
Anyway, what inevitably takes place when Trump is forced to walk back his big...
The way you got to be a president, you said that you love the uneducated voters. Okay, let's continue.
Beautiful plans for America. Well, his band of cult followers who have built up quite the tolerance for snake oil present it as this masterful negotiating tactic. But watch as this Fox News correspondent went off script, slamming the network's attempts to frame Donald Trump's sudden 90-day pause on his sweeping tariff plan as an example of his brilliant negotiating prowess. Fox hosts John Roberts and Sandra Smith, clearly with one eye on what was happening on X, tried to quote Trump's, quote, art of the deal mantra. But Fox business correspondent Charles Gasparino had to force his Fox colleagues to face the music. And, well, it's worth a watch, especially the whole capitulated part.
Great to be here.
Around the table.
Around the table.
You're saying that now?
To be
Good
back
opening
again.
line.
Thank you. Trump even admitted that it wasn't the art of the deal or be cool. He said he was watching the bond market, and that
Jessica Carlisle is the best thing on Fox News. She gets them in their feelings just by stating the simple fact and up against their propaganda, and knowing when to state which fact up against their propaganda.
That's what decided this. He had to cave. I think CNBC's Steve Leisman, he said he didn't just flinch, he ducked. There are trillions still lost. And our very own Charlie Gasparino has been on for the last couple of hours saying that he wished it weren't so, but that the truth is that the White House capitulated. We still have tons of tariffs on, even our closest trading partners. They still don't make any sense. There's a lack of clarity on the specific numbers for Mexico and Canada.
Well, I mean, because of the mixed messaging, how can you doubt them? I mean, let's be clear what happened. Who capitulated here and why? And I don't want to say this because I'm a patriot. I'm an American, but it is the White House who capitulated based on everything I hear and all my sources. And the reason why is because of the bond market and what happened last night. Bessent knows this better than anybody. When you have yields on the 10-year rising to 5%, stuff starts shutting down. When you have the lending markets screwed up. By the way, who was dumping the bonds? Somebody asked them if it was China, right? Mm-hmm. It wasn't. It was Japan. While he was negotiating with Japan, according to my sources, were running major money management firms that are involved in the bond market without giving up names. Japan was dumping bonds because they believed this was not a great place to do business. That forced their hands. Now, what you can say, I think, legitimately here is Trump decided to take the win. And here's why. There was overwhelmingly, deal potential here among the entire world, except for maybe China, right? Everybody really wanted something. So he did take the win, but make no mistake about it. Peter Navarro was talking as of yesterday about not taking the win, and now they did, and it's all because of the bond market.
Now this comes as the...
Now, we are clear. Peter Navarro wanted him to stay in these tariffs. Peter Navarro was where he got these tariff ideas from, based on books that he's written about how tariffs can cure the what ails the world, based upon a economist that he often references as a professional economist who has everything figured out. This Ron Vera, and he has quoted Ron Vera in his book, only to find out Ron Vera is a fictional person, and he got the name Ron Vera from mixing up the letters in his own last name, Navarro. This is where this unintelligent president got the whole idea about these tariffs being everything that's going to fix everything. He said there's money pouring in every month, and we have been in it for 7 days. So these are the idiots that are running our government. Ron Vera, he actually had emails accounts and was sending memos in the first 45, 47 term. Okay, so let's continue. He was still hoping that he would continue to let the markets crash. And let's understand that Peter Navarro even went to jail for 45, 47. I digress. I already talked about this. Go ahead.
A self-professed business guru announced a 90-day pause on the most egregious tariffs, claiming it was due to countries being willing to negotiate. Absolutely nothing to do with the colossal loss in market value.
The whole country is reeling right now from the economic disaster Trump has plunged us into. He destroyed more than $10 trillion in American wealth in a single week. And then he went golfing.
Hence the vague answers from Secretary Scott Bessent and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt when they were asked during a press conference to clarify the shift after Trump plunged the country into the red.
Secretary Bessent, can you explain more of the decision-making on what feels like a reversal here? I mean, these went into effect less than 15 hours ago, these tariffs. Why the pause now? What led to that?
No, again, President Trump created maximum negotiating leverage for himself, and which tariffs went into effect 15 hours ago. The ones that we have lowered went into effect a week ago. They were announced a week ago, and we've just been overwhelmed.
Announcing them and them going into effect are two different things. Another billionaire who just sold his South Carolina Barbie Pink mansion for I think $88 million. Another $3 million for the furnishings, allegedly. Liz Libos, thank you for helping me meet my goals. Aisha, pronounced Aisha, good morning to you as well. I hope you have a wonderful day and thank you for helping me meet my goals as well. So these are the billionaires that he has in office, in his ear, like, hey, you making me lose money now. You haven't heard Scott Bessent come out and say anything about all of the regular American citizens that are losing their jobs. But now everybody is up in arms. You can touch everybody else, but don't let me lose 30 billion of my 380 something billion dollars. How dare you? You're affecting my life. Let's continue.
By the response from mostly our allies who want to come and negotiate in good faith. So,
but what always sticks out to me when we go on this, on this Trumpian merry-go-round is the ritualistic humiliation that he subjects the people who work for him to. So Bessent says this was the plan all along. So you were okay then with being made out to be a complete liar because you've been doing interviews on our network, going on the Sunday show, saying absolutely not, that we're not capitulating on this. We're not going back on it. Caroline Levitt calling fake news as recently as yesterday. Lutnick, he was on with you multiple times, it felt like, or it was the world's longest interview, talking about how this isn't a joke and, we'll be a manufacturing economy, which we don't even want to be.
And here's the thing, right? You don't have to read between the lines to see that this is complete BS. Despite the administration claiming 75 countries have approached the White House to negotiate, how many deals have been struck? If this was, in fact, to strengthen the country's backbone and make people want to buy American again, as they had claimed, while everyone's retirement took an absolute nosedive, then why shift? Why not stick to your guns? Unless it was purposeful to make some already wealthy people wealthier. No, that's too obvious, right? I mean, it's not like the president literally sent a message saying, buy now, when the stocks were tanking just before announcing a pause, right?
Okay, so are we clear on what was really going on? Are we clear? And he also he retweeted someone who said that I believe he's tanking the economy on purpose. He found it interesting enough to retweet that. He loves when his ego is stroked. Let's continue.
Of course he did.
Are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
I am, yes.
When were you made aware of that?
Well, I understood the decision was made a few minutes ago. And
sitting here
under discussion.
Sitting here under discussion. So did you know that this was under discussion, and why did you not include that as part of your opening remarks?
So typically what I don't do is divulge the contents of my discussions.
What are the details of the pause?
Well, my understanding is that because so many countries have decided.
Now, are we clear that this was announced right before this, I forget his name, this black guy was to question him. I just brought this up. I didn't know that it was actually in this video. I just pulled it up as they were talking. Yeah, he had no idea. Okay, so here we go.
Decided not to retaliate. We're going to have about 90 days.
China increased their tariffs on the United States. Trump blinked.
What's the blink, sir?
What do you know about this pause? What are the details of it?
Well, the details, as I understand it, is that China continues to retaliate. Other countries didn't retaliate. The president 2 or 3 days ago said we wanted to negotiate with those countries that asked for meetings. That's what we're doing.
What are the details? How long is the pause? How many days? How many weeks?
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've been.
So the trade representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade
Yes, I have. I've
And
just
yet
been in the
he's-
hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet.
Yes, I have, but I'm sitting here with you. Yeah, and therefore you were unable to tell them that the trade was going to be lifted up to 10%. Because you're sitting there with them, but you're saying that you have talked to the president about it, but you were unable to tell them this because you didn't know it to tell them this.
WTF? Who's in charge?
The president of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Nothing.
Well, as I mentioned,
It looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you. Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
The grift, it keeps grifting, folks.
Love this video.
Okay, that link is in my description box. Shaking my head as well. Shaking my head as well. Right in your face. I'm gonna, since I took the time to pull it up, I am going to present you that whole line of questioning so you can see it yourself. Where that ignoramus is up there caping for somebody, and the only thing that he could tell him was it was for 90 days because he did not know the rest of the information. Let me see. Here it is. Let me get to that line of questioning. It's right over here.
That he wants to remove barriers to entry, and he wants to reshore manufacturing. I think
We found a tariff as a way to become less dependent on China, for example. We know it works. It's just math. The data's there. That's how it is. You know, to the extent.
We know it's work. It's just math. The data's there, and that's just how it is. That's just how it is. Why you guys have put 125% tariff on China after they came back and put an 84% tariff on your 102% tariff that you had put on them, and everything most people have and use in their household is made in China. So how does that work again? How is China suffering again? I haven't figured it out. Or what are we exporting to rival what China export to us? I don't see what the point is. Personally, the thing is, he's getting away with this. Is mind blowing. America hasn't woke up yet. People are just complacent. Exactly, and that's one of the reasons why I find this worthy of talking about, because living in the last 45, 47 administration. You know that is BS pulled all the time, every day, all day. You notice that this media talks about this administration all day, every day. No other news permeate the national news. And they're talking about the same stories all day, every day. And it's so bad now that this media is not bothering to cover the important news, like the fact that 45, 47 has been over there striking Yemen 22 days straight. And it is so bad that they feel like they are going to run out of munitions because and they feel like they're going to run out of munitions because the attacks in Yemen have thus far proven to be unsuccessful from stopping them. They are omitting that Yemen has sank two 2 ships, 2 vessels, because and why is all of this going on? Why is any of this going on? Because the Houthis are protesting against what the Israelis, not the Jews, the Israeli are doing to the people of Palestine. But is there any talk when Netanyahu was sitting right up in the White House? Was there any talks about stopping it via negotiation? No. There was talk about, well, yeah, it would be good if the U.S. owned Palestine and we put some boots on the ground. Remember the first time Netanyahu was there when he brought up the idea that they would remove all the people and Gaza was such good land. There was talk, no, we wouldn't have to put any boots on the ground and we would own it. Now he's talking about putting boots on the ground in Gaza. See, but this is not permeating in this news that is talking about him all day, every day, and his buffoonery. Because he has these news network chairs, the owners afraid. Hey, Miss T Velocity, thank you for helping me reach my goal, Miss T Velocity. Due to conditioning, we are conditioned. Yeah, but I want to get oh my God, hold on 1 second. Okay, yeah, so let me let you hear this for yourselves.
The extent that Congress is interested in helping reshore and creating, tax structures that incentivize manufacturing, I think that's just really important. I think we have to have that.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that because I actually have legislation to do just that, to incentivize our sensitive supply chain, particularly pharmaceuticals, back here, and also to utilize
sunset review process that needs to be completed by the end of July of 2026. Will the tariff exclusion continue during the lead up of that review to give the manufacturers more certainty in the upcoming months?
Well, that's the current status. All right. I don't want to get ahead of the president on how he wants to treat that, but that's certainly the current status. And I would expect.
No, he said, will the tariff continue? That's the current status. I don't want to get ahead of the president, but that's the current status. Okay. That right here at this question, he asks, with the tariffs continue up until June when his states need something. Let me let you hear what he asked them.
No, Ambassador. I also want to echo Congressman Feenstra's comments about the Chinese flagged vessels that are going into certain ports. That's a very big issue for a lot of commodities. I don't care whether it's corn or coal or soybeans, whatever it is. So I appreciated your remarks on that, but it's something that we will definitely follow up with you on. One of the things, President Trump unleashed the American LNG industry by ending the former administration's era permitting pause. And as you know, the U.S. LNG industry is already being targeted by nations that are subject to the president's new tariffs. So my question to you is, do you have any plans to prioritize America's newly restored LNG export capacity in conversations with foreign nations?
That's something that comes up regularly. Obviously, we've been talking about the trade deficit, and many countries have been quick to say, one area where the U.S. is very competitive is oil and LNG, and it's something that they want to buy. And so it's been very common in these conversations for them to suggest that is one way to help achieve, more trade balance, et cetera.
I appreciate your answer. And lastly, I'd like to briefly touch on the USMCA sunset review, if you don't mind. USMCA qualifying trade was excluded from the tariffs announced on April 2nd. This will help many of the U.S. manufacturers. The reason I wasn't in the room most of the days, they were in my office, that have made investments under the rules President Trump negotiated 5 years ago. USMCA is facing a sunset review process that needs to be completed by the end of July of 2026. Will the tariff exclusion continue to the lead up of that review to give the manufacturers more certainty in the upcoming months?
Well, that's the current status. All right. I don't want to get ahead of the president on how he wants to treat that, but that's certainly the current status. And I would expect that if Canada and Mexico continue on this path, that would continue to be the status.
Okay, so he wants to know if they will continue to be excluded from the tariffs up until the end of July when they have something going on. Yes, you will. I don't want to say they will be excluded up until July, but he is under the mindset that there is a tariff situation going on up until July. Now let's continue.
And again, I want to compliment you for your service to the country and being willing to go back into the public sector. A lot of people don't realize you're giving up on a lot. You're spending a lot more time, probably a lot more hours, a lot more time away from.
And as you're stroking his dick, he's looking down at his text messages to find out that Trump has lifted the tariffs. As you're sitting up there talking about all of what he's missing out on, he's doing a job. We all miss out on so much when we are at work. He's not doing anything that any other working person is not doing, missing out on so much when they are at work. Get the fuck out of my face.
Away from your family. And so I just want you to know, as a member of this committee, I certainly appreciate your service. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Mr. Horsford.
Thank you, Chairman Smith, and to the ranking member. Mr. Trade Representative, are you aware that the tariffs have been paused?
I am, yes.
When were you made aware of that?
Well, I understood the decision was made a few minutes ago. And
Sitting here.
Under discussion.
Sitting here, under discussion. So did you know that this was under discussion, and why did you not include that as part of your opening remarks?
So typically what I don't do is divulge the contents of my discussions.
What are the details of the pause?
Well, my understanding is that because so many countries have decided not to retaliate, we're going to have about 90 days.
No, excuse me? China increased their tariffs on the United States. Trump blinked.
What's the blink, sir?
What do you know about this pause? What are the details of it?
Well, the details, as I understand it, is that China continues to retaliate. Other countries didn't retaliate. The president 2 or 3 days ago said we wanted to negotiate with those countries that asked for meetings. That's what we're doing.
What are the details? How long is the pause? How many days? How many weeks?
I understand it's 90 days. I haven't spoken to the president since I've been.
So the trade representative hasn't spoken to the president of the United States about a global reordering of trade.
Yes, I have. I've just been in the hearing with you, sir.
But yet he announced it on a tweet. WTF? Who's in charge?
The president of the United States is in charge.
And what do you know about those details?
Well, as I mentioned,
it looks like your boss just pulled the rug out from under you and paused the tariffs, the taxes on the American people. There's no strategy. You just found out 3 seconds ago, sitting here, we saw you.
We've been discussing a variety of
If you came here knowing that you were going to be turned off, that these tariffs were going to be turned off, why didn't you include that in your opening statement? Why didn't you reference that as part of your testimony?
Well, I don't disclose my conversations with the president, sir.
These were specific questions we asked you all along. What's the strategy? These are real consequences for the American people and small businesses. I had a group of small businesses in my office earlier today talking about the impacts of these tariffs on aluminum and steel. This is amateur hour, and it needs to stop. What does this even mean for your negotiating strategy? How are you in charge of negotiation if the president is tweeting about this from wherever the hell he is?
president was elected and he runs the trade policy, and I advise him and execute his
Who
trade
executes
policy.
the trade policy?
I execute the trade
Did you
policy,
know
Mr. President.
that this was happening?
We have been discussing all kinds of.
And there's another member of the cabinet, Bessent, who just canceled coming to the Hill to avoid talking about the market because it's in turmoil. This in just days, because there was no strategy, there was no plan. The president chose to take actions that he didn't even have the authority to take. He's put our economy in disarray and near collapse. We have small businesses and Americans who are concerned about their well-being, people's retirement, people's 529 accounts went down because of this administration. We have people that are planning to send their kids to college this fall. People who are retiring whose benefits have declined. Is this market manipulation?
No.
Why not? If it was a plan, if it was always the plan, how is this not market manipulation?
It's not market manipulation, sir.
Well, then what is it? Because it sure is not a strategy.
We're trying to reset the global trade system. That's
and
offshored all of our factories.
what has that done?
But you didn't. Nobody campaign on you resetting the global trade system. Why do we give a fuck about you trying to reset the global trade situation when it's going to cost us money at retirement age? And Bessent, who refused to show up for this, is out on the White House lawn, hemming and hawing about it was a negotiation and it wasn't a negotiation out there with that liar, Caroline Levitt, out there lying. He refused to show up because he knew he couldn't hem and haw out these people. So he's out there, this billionaire, out there hemming and hawing like, oh, well, it's nothing to be concerned about. We did this and, other nations came to us and, all of this bullshit. Okay, so that's what's going on in that situation. There was something else I wanted to say. I forgot. Let him finish.
How have you done? How have you achieved any of that? But to enact enormous harm on the American people, which was our concern from the very beginning. Tariffs are a tool. It can be used in the appropriate way to protect U.S. jobs and small businesses. But that's not what this does. So if it's not market manipulation, what is it? Who's benefiting? What billionaire just got richer? And all the while, there are not even any Republicans left in this hearing. They all left because they don't even want to defend this. But meanwhile, the speaker is rushing to the floor to pass a budget reconciliation to screw America by passing the biggest tax cut in history on the backs of the American people.
And the budget resolution did pass last night. I want you to know.
WTF? Who's in charge? Because it sure doesn't look like it's the trade representative. You just got the rug pulled out from under you. I wish I could feel some empathy, but the empathy I have is for the American people whose very well-being and livelihoods are being affected. This is not a game. This is real life. I yield back.
Okay, that's what I want to share with you. This is crazy, and people want to virtual beef. Exactly. I concur. Bessent, he's out there pontificating. The billionaire just sold his Bobby Pink mansion for $88 million in South Carolina. He had the nerves to come out the other day. I shared it, I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday, and he stated they asked him about people who were losing their money in the 401ks, who were close to retiring. What are they going to do? And he said that people just have to wait out the market. You know, it always rebounds. And they was like, well, what about the people who are about to retire and they've lost thousands and thousands of dollars of their 401k savings? And he said, you know what this motherfucker said up there and said, well, you know, people who have been saving their money for their retirement for years throughout their working career, they should be fine. People who have been saving their money, understand that is how people save their money for retirement, is by putting it in their 401k savings. The average American worker is not playing the stock market to see if they can get more money out of it beyond the money that they're saving in a personal account for their retirement. That is their retirement. And he is so unaware, unattached to the realities of the regular workers, because so many companies no longer offer retirement plans. So if the average worker is blessed to even have a 401k plan to save under, he's acting as if that's some extra money that you're putting to the side to try to be in the market and possibly earn money. No, these are these people's retirement plans. Because for some reason, the United States don't find it necessary to make these companies give retirement plans anymore. And all the retirement plans, because all the retirement plans you allow corporations to borrow from and steal from, and people have been going with their retirements totally taken away from the corporations that they thought that they had a retirement plan under. So where is the disconnect of having people work all their lives and corporations still in their retirement plans, that they have to join these 401k plans? And this motherfucker is so detached from reality of the regular man that he's talking about people who have saved, they should be fine. It's okay that they're 401k tank. People who have been saving, can you imagine? Who's somebody else? I want to thank. Did I thank you, Miss T Velocity? Thank you. And I thanked Aisha. Miss T Velocity, thank you for helping me meet my goals. Okay. Good to see brothers and sisters speaking and running things, taking control. And you see, he was up there. Well, I talked to the president. I talked to, yeah, but you're not running things. That's the problem when you have a whole lot of yes men in office. They don't tell him the real at all. But then, yeah, okay. So let's see what else may have prompted him to stop the tariffs. Let me see. I think it's here, right here. Here we go. If you guys are not subscribed to Democracy Now!, it's a great channel.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman in Muncie, Indiana at Ball State, and Juan Gonzalez is in Chicago. While many federal agencies are facing crippling cuts and being forced to cut essential services, President Trump has announced he would seek a $1 trillion budget for the Pentagon. He made the comment while speaking to reporters alongside Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu.
We also essentially approved a budget, which is in the facility, you'll like to hear this, of $1 trillion, $1 trillion. And and nobody's seen anything like it. We have to build our military, and we're very cost conscious, but the military is something that we have to build.
We're joined now by William Hartung, Senior Research Fellow at the Quincy Institute. Institute for Responsible Statecraft. His new piece for Forbes is headlined, Does America Really Need a $1 Trillion Pentagon Budget? He's also co-author of the forthcoming book, The $1 Trillion War Machine, which will be out later this year. So Bill Hartung, answer your own question. Does the Pentagon really need a $1 trillion budget? Talk about what's going on here as DOGE, as the Trump administration slices and dices and removes and eliminates other agencies.
Well, do we need $1 trillion is kind of a softball question because the answer is absolutely no. We're already spending too much. And this really gives the lie to the idea that it's about efficiency. They've almost eliminated the Agency for National Development, eliminate Department of Education, cutting the Centers for Disease Control, going after Medicaid, cutting staff at the Social Security Administration. If they're about efficiency, first of all, they couldn't do it overnight. They'd have to study what works and what doesn't. So basically, they're decimating our civilian. Civilian government, which provides needed services here and abroad. And they're rewarding Pentagon contractors, including Elon Musk, who's got unprecedented power. You know, the Silicon Valley militarists don't even need to lobby this administration because they're embedded within it. J.D. Vance was groomed by Peter Thiel, the Silicon Valley military person. You've got Musk, you've got people spread throughout these different agencies. There was some hope because of Trump's rhetoric. He said, well, if we can, warm up to China and Russia, we could cut military budget in half. Nuclear weapons cost too much. I was pretty sure that was just a kind of a bone to those in his base, some of whom are sick of endless wars, don't trust these corporations. But I didn't expect him to really go along with it. And indeed he has. And he's talking about building a golden dome, which is sort of akin to Reagan's impenetrable Star Wars missile shield, which almost all scientists say is not possible to do. So that's a big boondoggle for both the old companies like Lockheed Martin and the new companies like Anduril and Palantir. And then, of course, this new fighter plane, which he decided to call the F-47 because he's the 47th president. I mean, might as well put his name on the side. There's no indication this is going to work. Andrew Coburn, a longstanding analyst, has written a piece about this. So at the same time, they're saying, they're going to preserve every penny, spend it wisely. They're putting money at these new boondoggles. Of course, they've never passed an audit. They paid dramatically more than they should for spare parts. They've gotten rid of independent inspectors general who could follow where there's corruption going on. So this is really an effort to militarize our society. What Eisenhower warned about, that we didn't want America to become a garrison state. And getting rid of AID, America's face to the world now is going to be almost entirely military. AID had its problems, but also provided clean water, food, HIV prevention services that help millions of people around the world. So I think this really is bad for America's influence in the world. It's bad for large numbers of people. Almost the only beneficiaries are going to be the weapons contractors. And of course, this is going to be the highest Pentagon budget since World War II, so higher than peak of Korea and Vietnam, higher than the peak of the Afghan and Iraq wars. And it's completely unnecessary, and it's actually going to make us less safe.
And Bill, you've written other articles questioning even whether the official Defense Department budget is actually much larger, possibly twice as large, the military budget of the United States. Could you talk about this discrepancy between the official budget and the actual expenditures of the U.S.?
Yes. Well, it's not just the Pentagon budget that has a military purpose or as a result of militarized foreign policy. Nuclear warheads are done in the Department of Energy. Some of our military aid is in the international affairs budget instead of the Pentagon budget. Of course, the Veterans Administration has mushroomed to take care of the Iraq and Afghan vets, of whom hundreds of thousands have physical wounds, PTSD, and so forth.
And whom they have laid off or fired. I think it was they are looking to lay off and fire 83,000 people who are working for the VA. At the same time, they're trying to get $1 trillion budget. Okay, what I was saying earlier is he said that things like this need to be studied, and I said, study be damned. Why do they need to study something when they can just fuck shit up and then say that they're going to correct it? Like the 16,000 employees that were fired that a judge said that they had to rehire. Instead of rehiring them, they took it to a higher court, which overturned it because they said that the employees didn't have what was it? They didn't have something like status to bring the case because there were civil service workers who had a distinct contract and agreement what must be done if they were to be fired, and they were also mixed in with nonprofit people who were working for nonprofits who had gotten fired as well. So instead of correcting their wrongs, they just took it to a higher court, and they don't have to bring back these 16,000 people. All of this budget that they're looking waste, fraud, and abuse. No. Why should we pay people when Elon Musk need contracts? Elon Musk just was awarded a $6 billion contract, if not this week, late last week. This is but he's not worried about the motherfucker who's using the military planes to make sure he can get to his warm cookies. If you missed the beginning of the show, he's not worried about the second in command of the FBI using 20 people to be his bodyguards 24 hours a day, when the prior second in command from the FBI had a part-time person, one single person who usually only traveled with him when he went out of state. This 24 hours a day, even when he's in the FBI building allegedly working. He's never been an FBI agent, nor has the head of the FBI, Kash Patel. So we are not sure what type of work they're doing other than what they're told to do, stuff that doesn't involve the FBI, some things that don't involve the expertise of the FBI, like unredacting the JFK files and all of this stuff that they're pulling FBI agents off of their job to do, that type of stuff. So link is in my description box. I don't know why they need $1 trillion budget other than to enrich private contractors. That's it. talking about they take care of the VA, all the people who were wounded in Afghanistan. At the same time, they're talking about firing 83,000 people who work for the VA. Let's pledge allegiance to the fools of the United States of America and to the republic for which they stand, one nation, under the wealthy, indivisible, from your money that you pay taxes with. Okay? Let's pledge allegiance. People are so stupid and gullible. No, stupid and gullible. Let me see. I played that. Oh, now let's talk about why. Let's talk about all of this fighting that they're doing in Iran. Not fighting they're doing in Iran. Let's talk about, are they getting on a war footing with Iran? So I already told you there. I already read things to you in the past couple of weeks. Now it seems like they're not hiding it anymore. They're saying it right out loud. This is what we're going to do. So let me share this with you. We're putting boots on the ground in Gaza. We know that Israel is striking all Syria. They want to take over Syria and all of this land. Okay, is it a land deal or is it bloodlust? This link is under that title. Okay. Let me share this with you. If you're not subscribed to this channel, I suggest you, what is it? Secular Talk is the name of this channel. I didn't know that he is married to the commentator, Crystal Ball. Did you guys know that he's married to Crystal Ball? She does a great, I think most of her stuff is on TikTok. And she does a show. I forget. She does a show with someone else. I'll try to find it and bring it to you tomorrow.
To present to you this next segment here. All right, y'all. So it brings me no joy to present to you this next segment here, but it is what it is, and it's super ugly and dark. So as you all know, Donald Trump, half the time on the campaign trail when he brought up foreign policy, he would say stuff like, Liz Cheney is a warmonger. She only wants to shoot people. Kamala Harris is a warmonger. He even did some of that in his first run in 2016, where he would go after the Iraq war, right? And it left this impression on some people that, oh, this guy must be anti-war. Look at that thing that he said. Now, of course, the thing that these people are missing is they're latching on to the comments of Trump that they like. And they're disregarding and ignoring when he contradicts himself and says the exact opposite. In his first run, he said on the campaign, we're going to bomb the shit out of him. That's what we're going to do. We're going to bomb the shit out of him. We're going to take the gloves off. He literally said in his first run, talking about ISIS, he goes, we have to take out their families. Don't kid yourself. We have to take out their families. So openly advocating for murdering civilians, which is advocating for terrorism, which is a war crime in like 50 different ways. And these people would just ignore the pro-war stuff and latch onto the anti-war stuff. And that always sort of drove me crazy because the proof is in the pudding, right? The devil's in the details, to say two cheesy phrases back to back. The point is, what did he actually do in office? And as you all know, he was massively pro-war. He was a colossal neocon. And now in his second term, he's raising the stakes even more. He's graduated from neocon to 1800 style imperialist and colonialist. So now it's all hanging out, right? I don't even think he mentioned Greenland on the campaign trail this time. I don't think he mentioned Panama on the campaign trail this time. But now, so we have to have it. We have to have it. We're going to take it. There were reports that they're literally drafting up plans on how to take Panama with force. Well, now, yet again, he's added another country to the list because he can't fucking help himself. He's completely unhinged, completely unchained. And so he had a meeting with the genocidal, bloodthirsty war criminal Netanyahu in the White House the other day. By the way, yet again, he pulled out his seat for him, which at this point is starting to look like some sort of humiliation ritual that he has to go through, right? What dirt?
He pulled out his seat, meaning he pulled out the chair for Netanyahu, like the servant he is to Netanyahu. Okay, go ahead.
What dirt does Israel and Mossad have on Trump? What dirt do they have on like RFK Jr.? Because these guys certainly act like they are not independent agents, like they are serving Israel, right? So they have a discussion in the White House, in the Oval Office, and listen to what Trump says here about Gaza. This is astonishing.
Why do people lose weight so?
Hold on, let me get past this commercial. I was just about to go forward because he is pontificating so much. He's quite pissed off, but come on, get to the point. Okay. And look at this. I want you to look at this inadequate head self sitting up here with his blue suit and brown shoes on, looking down at his feet like a little child who knows that if they say a word at the adult table, their mom gonna backslap them in the mouth. Look at head self sitting up here.
Out Gaza. This is astonishing.
Well, you know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate. And I think it's something that we would be involved in. But, having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing.
Having a peace force there like the United States controlling and owning the Gaza Strip would be a good thing. Look at how casual and nonchalant he is with the most obvious violations of international law and human rights and sovereignty that I've ever seen in my life. Do you understand what a peace force means? It means U.S. boots on the ground, our military boots on the ground in Gaza doing.
Okay, let me see. I think he has a little other clip. The link is in my description box. Land Deal or Bloodthirsty is the title that is under in my...
Years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them...
Years and years, all I hear about are killing and problems. But you're sitting next to the problem that's doing all the killing over there. You're sitting right next to the people who are doing the killing. Years and years and years, all I hear about is killing and problems. Okay. This is rich.
And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that.
He's talking
if you take the people and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, well, why don't you let Israel take them in then? If you have plenty of countries that will do that, let Israel take them in. Israel can't even live beside of them because they're so greedy and Israel.
Like what kind of sandwich he's going to have for lunch. And he's advocating ethnic cleansing. I keep telling people, man, there's this fallacy that people have growing up in the imperial core where you feel like, well, look, when we do bad things, we mean well, so it doesn't count as much as like when the Nazis do bad things, right? Because they didn't even mean well. They were evil and they kind of knew they were evil. At what point are you comfortable saying we're evil and we know that we're evil? Listening to the way that this guy talks, listening to how the mask has come off.
See, because nobody is calling him on it. Not one reporter. They surround themselves with people that are not going to challenge them. So it comes off as natural as long as you use the right words. But let somebody actually challenge them. Now, the AP has taken them, this administration to court, and they won their case. They threw the AP out, not giving the AP access to any press conferences or to be able to fly on the plane or do anything. Hold on. To fly on the plane to get any meetings with them, nothing. So it has been ruled that the AP will have access. And why did they do that? Because the AP would not call the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America. So they threw them out of the hearing. The judge says that while they don't have to let press in the White House, they cannot deny the press based upon what they feel about the press's opinion if they are allowing other press into the White House. So they can't pick and choose because they don't like this specific press company. So the AP may be back in the White House. And, he may appeal it. So there's that. We don't know how soon they'll be in here. Let me see if there's any other footage. Oh, there's a little more footage. Here we go.
Imagine how the history books are going to look back at this moment with these fucking monsters in control.
You really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone, a free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place. You know what I call it? A great location that nobody wants to live in because they really don't. And
Yeah, well, actually, they do want to live on their land. He said that's a great location. He's all on this, let's look at it in another way. Let's look at it as real estate. Yeah, people do want to live on there. They want to live on there themselves. But you want to make it into some great piece of waterfront real estate for the rich. He's disgusting.
And when they have good living, real living, where Hamas and all of the problems they have, the level of death on the Gaza Strip is just incredible.
Where's that death coming from? Where's that death coming from?
The level of death, and you're sitting next to the person who's causing the level of death in Gaza. Make it make sense. And all of these mouths are shut. A whole gaggle of people is letting this idiot run his mouth off like this.
Coming from, Donald? It's literally the guy to your right. Why are people so passive with their language when it comes to Israel? Why are you so you act like it was a natural disaster or something, like a hurricane went through, an earthquake happened, and all these people lost their lives. No, it has been relentless carpet bombing of innocent people. It has been IDF goons and thugs and gangsters sniping little children in the face, in the head. In fact, what was it, the New York Times or the Washington Post? I think it was the New York Times, had an article where they explained in detail, hey, dog, we got countless corpses over here of children, and they were shot in the face. And then a bunch of Zionists were like, that's not true, man. How dare you say that? There's no evidence of that. And the New York Times responded, and they were like, we literally have pictures, and we didn't release them because they were so disturbing. But, this shit is real, dog, and we got all the evidence in the world. I don't get it. I don't get it. How can you have a situation where on a regular basis, schools are bombed? On a regular basis, hospitals are bombed. You have nightmare stories where there's, on average, 10 amputations per day of little kids' arms and legs with no anesthesia whatsoever. Literal hell on earth, a nightmare. And, things just keep...
If you guys recall, I played a video yesterday of the little girl who had her arm amputated all the way up near the shoulder. They're doing these surgeries really crudely because all the aid and all the hospitals, they said that something like 23 hospitals have been bombed. I remember when they did bomb that first hospital, and they said that they tried to deny that they bombed that hospital. They said that it was Hamas trying to frame them as if they bombed that hospital. They denied and denied and denied that they had bombed that first hospital. And now more than 23 hospitals have been bombed, with hospital actually treating these people who need life-saving care. They're bombing them. Let's continue.
Just keep moving forward as if we're not witnessing a literal Holocaust in the year 2025. I don't know how to shake people out of their complacency. I've tried. Lord knows I've tried. I know you guys have tried. But what do you do when this is the point that we're at, where they're casually discussing a final solution for 2.3 million people in front of the world? This alone, you should have all these people should be arrested. How are we going to let these people get away with this? They're just the most insane criminals I've ever seen in my life, the amount of death and destruction and harm they've inflicted. And Trump talks about it so passively, as if it's just a fact of nature, right? It's a law of nature. Oh, these bad things happen to the Palestinians. Gee, I wonder how that occurred. Because the guy next to you decided, I want to kill all of them and kick them off their land.
I've said it. I don't understand why Israel ever gave it up. Israel owned it. It wasn't this man, so I can say it. He wouldn't have given it up. I know him for.
You don't understand why Israel gave it up. No, they gave the land to Israel. You don't understand. I'm sure he's an idiot. I'm not going to interrupt.
This man, so I can say it. He wouldn't have given it up. I know him very well.
What the fuck is he talking about? What the fuck is he talking about? This land was Palestinians' land. Oh my God.
No way. They took oceanfront property and they gave it to people for peace. How did that work out?
Oh yeah. Oh, I know.
oceanfront property, and they gave it to people when Israel was the one who was given the land to live on, and is approaching on. This is such an idiot, I tell you.
Israel, they're so dedicated to peace. They're so dedicated to peace. They're always doing the right thing, and it's those dastardly Palestinians that are always screwing it up. Who can believe this? Anybody who has any understanding of history looks at it and goes, literally the exact opposite is true. Who has all the money? Who has all the power? Who has all the weapons? Who's doing the bulk of the killing? What are we talking about? This is who this guy is. God, I have to say it, but it really is true. Literally anybody who fucking came out and pretended like Donald Trump was anti-war, or even just more anti-war than Kamala and Biden. Every single one of those people should never be heard from again.
Okay, so that means we will never hear from MU again. He's anti-war. He's the most anti-war president. Let me see what these clips are, and I will let you guys go through this yourselves. If you're not subscribed to Secular Talk, and if you like the content, you may want to go over there and join them.
The Houthis isn't working. Oh, no shit. We talked about that the other day. It's been a massive failure. They've spent nearly $1 billion. They're running out of the specific bombs they use for this. More. So things are moving to the next phase. Discussions of a ground offensive led by the internationally recognized government out of Aden with U.S. and potential Saudi Arabian and UAE support. He's also considering boots on the ground for an advisory role in fucking Yemen. Is anybody keeping a running track of this, man? Why do I feel like we're the only ones who talk about this?
Because we are.
We got Greenland, we got Denmark, we got Mexico, we got Iran, we got Yemen, we got Somalia. I know I'm missing a bunch of others. Ecuador, apparently. We learned that the other day. A central-left government might win in Ecuador, and they're talking about sending troops there.
Best and worst treats for your...
Okay, so I just thought you guys should know that, because I don't hear that talked about on CNN. I don't see CNN telling you that they're about to put boots on the ground in Yemen. I don't hear CNN telling you that they are close to spending $1 billion in bombs that they have been bombing Yemen on, and denied that Biden, they act as if Biden did not allow them to bomb, and they are doing the same bombing that Biden was doing. But now they have amped it up, and they have been bombing nonstop for 22 days, and it has not been effective to the point that they are talking about a ground war in Yemen. So I didn't hear, I did not see this war go to Congress at all. I thought that Congress was the one who approved wars, but we're going to ignore that as well. So I just thought that these were some things. Yes, he did. This will never end. It's cultural. Well, they're trying to end it by eliminating one of the cultures. Okay, so this is just crazy. Okay, so the link is in my description box. Please check it out. So let me share this with you. Oh, thank you guys for helping me reach my goals. I see the confetti falling down. I appreciate you all for helping me reach my goals. Okay, so I'm going to share this with you. Okay, so this I find he reports on this Ken Klippenstein. His link is in the description box. He was the first one that I started reading. He is a former reporter at TYT. Thank God he's left TYT, but he has gotten a lot of information. He is the first one who I started reading about the possible strikes in Iran. Pentagon prepares for Trump to go berserk. unprecedented number of B-2 bombers amassed for an Iran strike. In the largest single deployment of stealth bombers in U.S. history, the Pentagon has sent 6 B-2 Spirit aircraft to Diego Garcia in the Indian Ocean. The long-range bombers, which are uniquely suited to evade Iranian air defenses and carry America's most potent bunker-busting weapons, flew in from Missouri last week in a little-noticed operation because the press did not note that operation. The B-2s carry not just bombs, but message for Iran. Do you see our sword? As one retired general told Newsmax this week.
A large buildup of U.S. bombers now. Tell us what you think the strategy is. Obviously, you know, the Houthis, Yemen terrorizing, and there's the map that really clearly puts out where it is and the strategic point it sits at.
Diego is such a strategic base, and we have moved a third of our strategic bombers from the B-2 side there. We're sending a message. This is a message of deterrence. There's 2 carrier strike groups, but it also gives the president a military option that he can actually use these weapons against Iran if needed. We could go if we have a nuclear weapons program to eliminate, could be done. But what I think lends this self more to a deterrence package is the fact that all the bombers, they're not in hangars. They're underneath satellites where they can be.
But I thought that you already knew that they had nuclear weapons. So what do you mean if? I thought we were striking them because you guys said that they were trying to enrich uranium for nuclear. What's the if about?
Can be photographed and seen, and the idea is, do you see our sword? Because we could use this sword if we need to.
Large buildup of U.S. bombers now. Tell us what you think.
You say you hear him say they're not hiding their airplanes. They have them out under the satellite where they know that Iranian can see them. Okay, so President Donald Trump hasn't been shy in threatening Iran, saying that if Tehran doesn't close the door on nuclear capability, they will experience bombing the likes of which they haven't seen. So he is saying if Tehran doesn't close the door on nuclear capabilities, how did they figure that Tehran was trying to get nuclear capabilities? Because Benjamin Netanyahu told him. That's what Benjamin Netanyahu told 45-47 in his last administration to get allegedly to get 45-47 to pull out of the agreement that Barack Obama had fostered with the Iranians to not try to get a nuclear weapon, to not try to only use their they could also use their nuclear power to power Iran, but they could not proliferate any nuclear weapons. And Iran signed the deal. They were allowing inspections, but then when 45-47 got into office and Netanyahu saw how he was trying to drag back any accomplishment that Barack Obama had made in everything that Barack Obama had done, that 45-47 was trying to tear down. Then here come Netanyahu. Well, you know what? Those Iranians, they still trying to proliferate weapons, and they're not using it. They're not using their power, just their nuclear power, just to have power in Iran. They're trying to get a weapon, and he pulled out of the Iran non-proliferation agreement. But now he is demanding that they agree not to proliferate any weapons. Does any of this make sense? And talking about $1 trillion budget, talking about they have spent over $1 billion striking Yemen, and Yemen, the Houthis in Yemen only want Netanyahu to stop unaliving the Palestinians at this cliff. But no, that's too much to ask. That is too much to ask. We'd rather spend over $1 billion carpet bombing Yemen to no effect. And when we got Netanyahu has been in the White House 2 times over the last month, but there's no mentioning of, hey, why did you break your ceasefire in the first place? Let's talk about that. Netanyahu was the one who broke this ceasefire. And now there's nothing said about that. Not a word has been said about that. But it's about we must get them out of here because I've never heard of such killing and this, that, and the other. But you sit next to the man who's doing all the killing. You haven't asked him why did he break this last ceasefire? Talking about they want to get the hostages out and all of this type of shit. Why is it when they were exchanging 3 hostages back to Israel, Israel was returning like 15 and 20 hostages. So nobody ever thought, I saw one of the hostages. Also, they had a young 17-year-old has recently died in Israel. They said that he died of starvation. His fat deposit and muscle deposits were all depleted, and he had scabies, 17-year-old. And I saw one guy who got released. He was so tall, looked like he could be a basketball player, had been in there since he was a adolescent. He was a kid when he went in there and looked like a grown man when he came out. But nobody is asking any questions about this. Nobody's asking any questions about, like the New York Times had uncovered all of the children who had been shot in the faces. There was a report about a Palestinian American who got unalived over there. And why did they unalive him? Because allegedly he was throwing rocks at cars. So they're calling for an investigation on that because he was an American. But where do you think this investigation is going to go? Nowhere. He was an American Palestinian. All of this type of shit. And it's not permeating. It's not being reported on this media that can sit up and talk about all this other shit. And now, okay, here we go. Okay, hell will rain down on the country, Trump also said. Just today, amidst the stock market meltdown, Trump again reinstated his threat, saying that doing a deal would be preferable to doing the obvious, which to the president is undertaking a massive strike. So you want to do a deal. So he wanted to do a deal, but he unraveled the deal that was already in place. And look at all, talking about waste, fraud, and abuse. Look at all of this money that has gone out to this. And somebody, is it in this? I think it's in this art. The blatant as the threat is in the U.S. government has not otherwise publicly acknowledged the bomber buildup. The B-2 bombers were used to carry out strikes on underground Houthi facilities in Yemen, both under the Biden and Trump administration. But I thought the Biden administration had their hands tied, as Hegseth said, and all we could do was sit there and hide ourselves under our hands under Biden. But now we have the power and we have the tenacity that we're able to strike back. Lying motherfucker. Do y'all remember when I played that for you? That Hegseth was acting as if Biden was not striking in Yemen. Okay. The The forward deployment of the bombers to the island of Diego Garcia was only reported when commercial satellite images of the airbase were revealed. The commercial satellite image of the airbase there revealed the 6 on the runway. So here are the 6 bombers on the runway. To my knowledge, this is the largest B-2 deployment to a forward location. Hans Christian, director of the Nuclear Information Project at the Federation of American Scientists, told me Christian is the world-leading tracker of nuclear comings and going. All the bombers, they're not in hangars, they're underneath the satellites where they can be photographed and seen. The idea is, do you see our Sword, retired Air Force General Blake Holt, who served as deputy U.S. military representative to NATO, said in an interview with Newsmax last week. No wonder well, he was on Newsmax. No wonder I didn't see it. I don't watch Newsmax. Holt also said that the B-2 deployment gives the president a military option that he can actually use these weapons against Iran if needed. And they can also hold a nuclear weapon. Be clear that these planes can also hold a nuclear weapon. That's why having them out on full display, they're trying to send a message. If you don't know, that's the message they're trying to send with these planes that are capable of dropping a nuclear weapon. Okay. This is a highly visible threat to Tehran, but at least one party isn't supposed to notice: the American people. Did y'all notice that? No, you're not supposed to notice that. That's why I'm just giving you the information. The Pentagon refuses to acknowledge that the deployment is even happening. Trump's new Pentagon press secretary, Sean Parnell, has only vaguely alluded to other assets being deployed in his announced that 2 aircraft carriers will stay in the region. The result of the delay in sending one home after its current deployment, according to the Google thread search for the B-2 war of the B-2 and war with Iran, have only mostly increased, indicating that the public curiosity has been suppressed despite Trump's many threats to attack his enemies. Okay. Why the B-2s? The B-2s are first designed in the Cold War to penetrate deep into Russian territory for a nuclear attack. The aircraft stealth features, making it all but invisible to conventional radar, allows it to evade even the most sophisticated air defenses. Subsequent to its deployment, the bomber was modified so that it could take on unique conventional roles, as well as especially in attacking underground facilities. Okay, let me see. So I've already written the Pentagon and is developing a new ramp plan in recent months that include options for the use of nuclear weapons against Iran. Okay, here, that's what I want to see. Who is saying this? Affording a unilateral option, the bombers also fulfill one of the priorities of the Pentagon, and the administration is undertaking any use of force, making sure that the risk to U.S. personnel is minimal. Although they are much more expensive to operate and even deploy, the risk of one B-2 getting shot down is lower than that of fighters. I've already written to the Pentagon and have been developing a new Iran war plan in recent months that even includes options for the use of nuclear weapons against Iran, which I've also written about. I think this is heck self, stupid ass. Let me see, who is saying this? I think that's heck self. I don't know who's saying that. It doesn't say who's saying that. I think this is heck self. Assessing the likelihood of war with Iran requires understanding 3 distinct parts: intelligence assessment, public muscle flexing. Oh, that sounds like hex health, and war planning. Each of these three elements exists in separate stovepipes. That sounds like hex health. Talk. They exist in separate stovepipes, and each proceeds along with their own timelines and separate approaches to the problem. In It is when the three are in sync that the moment of maximum danger emerge. We are not yet there, but let's take a look at each of the three. Okay, so flexing. Okay, you get war planning. Okay, you guys can read this yourselves. So I just wanted to give you. I just wanted to give you the information about this. So, were you guys aware about this? Now, he says, I've written over a dozen articles over the past year about war with Iran, trying to make the point that it is already here, that the endless tit for tat strikes we've seen is war. We might get to the point where all three elements of the war making process sync together and ground troops get involved. But in the interim, we are just one or two steps below maximum danger. This is Ken Klippenstein, who has been covering this, as he says, for over a year. Okay, so what do you guys think about that article? Nothing? Zionists. Okay, let me stop sharing this. I got another thing that I want to share with you. The killing fields. I think this is the one. Yes, this is the one. Okay. So, Democracy Now! If you haven't watched this, this is in my description box. Some of the world headlines. I want to go to. This whole video is eye-opening. It's a whole lot of stuff in this video. I want to play the first part because you hear 47 admit that he is so excited because other nations are kissing his ass since he put the tariff on. That's not the story that I really want to show. I'm trying to connect this Iran war situation, but you got to see this.
President Trump's sweeping and unprecedented tariffs on imports to the United States took effect at midnight. They include across-the-board tariffs of 104% on Chinese goods, which prompted China to retaliate with levies of 84% on imports of U.S. goods. Hong Kong's benchmark Hang Seng Index fell by over 13%, its biggest one-day drop since 1997. Japan's Nikkei index fell by nearly 8%. Markets in India and the Middle East also tumbled. On Tuesday evening, President Trump celebrated the chaos set off by his trade war, telling an audience at the National Republican Congressional Committee's annual gala that foreign leaders are lining up to make a deal.
I'm telling you, these countries are calling us up, kissing my ass. They are dying to make a deal. Please, sir, make a deal. I'll do anything. I'll do anything, sir.
On Wall Street, Goldman Sachs has further raised the prospect of recession. recession in the next year, now putting the odds at 45%. A CNBC survey found 2/3 of U.S. corporate executives believe Trump's trade war will trigger a recession. Israeli airstrikes on eastern Gaza City have killed at least 29 Palestinians, with 80 others missing and dozens more wounded. Scores of people are believed to be trapped in the rubble after the strikes leveled 10 residential buildings. At the United Nations, Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Tuesday reiterated his demands for Israel to end its total siege of Gaza, now in its 6th week.
More than an entire month has passed without a...
Okay, I apologize. What I was saying earlier is that we now know that Trump was lying. No nations were running up to him to kiss his ass. The only reason he suspended the tariffs is because of the bond market's going low. So there's the lie. But this is a story that I wanted you to see about Gaza. I apologize for that.
The strikes leveled 10 residential buildings. At the United Nations, Secretary General Antonio Guterres on Tuesday reiterated his demands for Israel to end its total siege of Gaza, now in its 6th week.
More than an entire month has passed without a drop of aid into Gaza. No food, no fuel, no medicine, no commercial supplies. As aid has dried up, the floodgates of horror have reopened. Gaza is a killing field, and civilians are in an endless death loop.
An autopsy has revealed that a Palestinian teen who died in an Israeli prison last month likely starved to death. 17-year-old Walid Khaled Abdullah Ahmed collapsed on March 22nd in Israel's notorious Megillah prison, where he'd been held without trial for 6 months for allegedly throwing stones at Israeli soldiers. An Israeli doctor who observed the autopsy said Ahmed had suffered severe muscle and fat loss. He also had scabies and showed signs of torture. In New Jersey, the family of a 14-year-old Palestinian-American boy shot dead by Israeli forces is demanding an investigation into his killing. Family members say Omar Mohammed Rabea was shot 11 times in total during an Israeli raid Sunday near the town of Termasaya in the occupied West Bank. The World Food Programme is calling on the Trump administration to reverse $1.3 billion.
But the first time that they did this story, I'm not confusing the two, because this one who died from malnutrition, I did this story about the 14-year-old, and they said that they shot him for throwing rocks. Not the first one, the second one, because he came first. His story came first. Go back. It was reported here, of course, because no one else is reporting this stuff that's going on in Palestine.
Dollars in cuts to emergency food assistance for 14 nations facing famine. The WFP said in a statement, quote, if implemented, this could amount to a death sentence for millions of people facing extreme hunger and starvation, unquote.
But we do have some, they may starve to death, but Doge have cut out waste, fraud, and abuse. We should be getting Doge checks soon.
Melanie Krause is at least the third top official to leave the IRS since Trump took office. Here in New York, Mayor, the United States before in the coming days or face arrest and deportation. Administrations revoked deportation relief from where Rubio had previously promised to preserve the funds.
Wait a minute. I really chopped up that story about the USAID. Marco Rubio said that he was taking over USAID. Come to find out, this is another thing that they said that they would take care of. And come to find out, Marco Rubio and USAID is not doing anything. People are starving because USAID was closed. No one else is talking about USAID. The last word that we got about USAID, which was closed by Doge, changes. It was closed by mistake and Marco Rubio will be handling it. Let's see how it's being handled.
Administration to reverse $1.3 billion in cuts to emergency food assistance for 14 nations facing famine. The WFP said in a statement, quote, if implemented, this could amount to a death sentence for millions of people facing extreme hunger and starvation, unquote. Secretary of State Marco Rubio had previously promised to preserve the funds. In immigration news, the Trump administration's revoked deportation relief for more than 900,000 immigrants who entered the United States through a parole process under President Biden. The Homeland Security Department has ordered immigrants who were given temporary protections under a Biden-era smartphone app known as CBP One to leave the United States before in the coming days or face arrest and deportation. In related news, the acting head of the Internal Revenue Service is resigning after the agency agreed to share personal tax data on undocumented immigrants with federal agents. Melanie Krause is at least the third top official to leave the IRS since Trump took office.
Okay, so there's that. Also, are they going to share the IRS information with the people who employ these people who got that special Social Security that would not allow them to vote, but they paid money into Social Security that they would not be allowed to collect unless at the time they became of age to collect Social Security, they had become a citizens. So they were just putting money into the IRS system, not expected to get it out. And they were allowed to work. And they were allowed to work because they had gone to court and were allowed to stay and work in the country. Let's be clear. We talked about this last week as Elon Musk tried to pretend like so many illegal aliens had Social Security cards to be able to vote in the election for Democrats when he was trying to buy that election for the Supreme Court seat in Wisconsin, which he overwhelmingly lost. I think it was by 40 points or something to that effect. So now they are deporting these people. Hey, more jobs for regular people. But what if they are so bad? Why aren't you? Why isn't there being some retribution on the companies that hired them? There never is, because 9 times out of 10 to hire somebody in the United States where small businesses have been really damn near wiped out. It's a big corporation that is hiring these people. So let's continue. I think we're going to get to Eric Adams. Eric Adams, who Trump was going to take his charges away with the threat of being able to bring his charges back. And they said on Fox News and said, yeah, well, we're going to work with the administration to allow the administration to get into New York prisons, which is against a New York state law. But let's look at this announcement from New York City.
Here in New York, Mayor Eric Adams is reopening an Immigration and Customs Enforcement office inside the Rikers Island jail complex. Adams first signaled the move after he met with Trump's so-called border czar, Tom Homan, in February. The New York Civil Liberties Union slammed Adams' administration for, quote, selling out New Yorkers for Trump's dangerous deportation regime, unquote. The group said in a statement, quote, ICE's presence on Rikers serves no legitimate purpose and opens the door to unlawful collusion between local law enforcement and federal immigration officials in violation of our city's well-established sanctuary protections. New Yorkers see this for what it is. Mayor Adams is skirting the city council, cozying up to Trump and putting immigrant New Yorkers in harm's way, the New York Civil Liberties Union said. A federal immigration judge is set to rule Friday on whether the Trump administration has grounds to deport Palestinian Columbia University student protest leader Mahmoud Khalil, or whether he should be freed. In a hearing in Louisiana Tuesday, Judge Jamie Comins gave Trump officials a little over 24 hours to present their evidence in the case. Only 10 Panama Canal to diminish Chinese influence in the region. China's embassy in Panama said on social media relations between the two countries is a, quote, sovereign decision of Panama and something the U.S. doesn't have the right to interfere in, unquote. The remarks came after U.S. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth visited Panama Tuesday for a ribbon-cutting ceremony of a new U.S. finance dock at Vasco Nunez de Balboa Naval Base.
Who is this financed by? It's financed by BlackRock, a investment firm. But they want you to believe that United States is taking back Panama. No, a motherfucking corporation for cash has taken over Panama. And so they send Pete Hegseth down to make it appear like some strength of the United States threat of war or whatever has taken it over. No, an investment firm has taken it over for profit, period.
Together, we will take back the Panama Canal from China's influence.
Do you hear this bullshit? We ain't taking back shit. An investment firm, if I had enough money to buy it, I could have bought it. It's bullshit.
Hegseth also met with Panamanian President Jose Raul Molino. Protesters took to the streets in Panama City in response, condemning Molino as a traitor for meeting with Trump officials.
Both Trump, Rubio, and now Pete Hegseth have indicated that they are going to take the canal. And obviously, the Panamanian people cannot accept this. And that is why we, a handful of patriots, are on the street today rejecting the presence of the Secretary of War in Panama and repudiating Molino, the traitor who behind the people's back is giving away our sovereignty and our self-determination.
Russia's military launched drone attacks on the Ukrainian cities of Dnipro and Kharkiv overnight, injuring at least 17 people. Kharkiv's.
So what does 4547 have to say about Russian not adhering to a ceasefire? I thought that he said the Ukrainians wanted to keep this up. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. When was the last time you heard anything? But it's so funny that the United States are on their way over to Ukraine to secure the deal that Zelensky has finally agreed to give up their precious minerals to the United States. But Russia is still bombing them. But they are slinking their ass over there to get the mineral rights from Ukraine. If I was Ukraine, I don't see the benefit in any of this. They want our mineral rights so bad while they allow Russia to keep bombing us. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. Let's continue.
Mayor said the attacks were aimed at terrorizing Ukraine's civilian population into submission.
This is our enemy's new tactic, to frighten the civilians. This is civilian infrastructure of the city. These are production enterprises. These are Kharkov's business people. Of course they are scared. Also, when people go to sleep in the night, when children go to sleep and they encounter some strong strikes, the goal is to frighten the people.
Ukrainian officials say they're sending negotiators to Washington, D.C. next week for talks on a mineral deal that would see the U.S. continuing sending weapons in exchange for U.S. access to Ukraine's valuable mineral resources. The Supreme Court will allow the Trump administration to fire 16,000 federal workers in the probationary period. Tuesday's ruling did not determine whether the administration unlawfully fired the workers, as their union, the American Federation of Government Employees, argued in a lawsuit. Instead, justices ruled 7-2 that the plaintiffs lacked legal standing to bring their case.
Okay. So check out Democracy Now! Let me see. There's a couple of more things I wanted to talk about that I saw in the news. Um, I think this is a great channel that gives you news that otherwise wouldn't be reported on here in the United States. Okay. I gave you the ISIS going to jail. Hold on. Now, this report is about if somebody who can write a book about their experience in the White House. Now, there is somebody in the White House last administration who has written a book. They, to my knowledge, have not given out any secrets. The book was first published anonymously, and now they have discovered who the person was who's written the book. And 4547 is sicking Pam Bondi on him, and he actually says that I don't know. I think it could be treason. I think it can be treason. So what treason, you say? It's in my description box under treason, you say. Yes, this is the one. Let me share this with you. Okay, it is sharing. Okay, let's listen to Trump talk about this.
I remember him. It was, I barely remember him. It was somebody that went out and wrote a book and said all sorts of terrible things that were all lies. And it was like he was...
Okay, so he said terrible things. They were all lies, but he didn't say that he disclosed any secrets or anything that was confidential or state secrets. He said terrible things. He said bad things about me, and I must have him held in jail under treason. Let's continue.
Like he was this gentleman or that gentleman, like I dealt with him all the time. I had no idea who this guy. I said, who the hell is Miles Taylor? And he made a living on going on CNN talking about the president. And I think what he did, he wrote a book anonymous, said all sorts of lies, bad things. And I think it's like a traitor. It's like spying. He walks into the office. He's supposed to be sitting here. A lot of people, I'll be here and there'll be 20 people standing in the room. There'll be oftentimes young people in the office. I assume he was one of them at least, but I didn't know anything about him. And he wrote a book, anonymous, and I always thought it was terrible. And now we have a chance to find out whether or not it was terrible. But it was a work of fiction.
Well, how did you always think it was terrible? But now you have the chance to find out if it was terrible. Do you hear this fucking numb nuts? That don't make any sense. Let's continue.
Had a lot of publicity, got himself a nice job with CNN or one of them. And I think we have to do something about it. You can't have that happen. If that happens to other presidents, it wouldn't be sustainable for other presidents. I seem to be able to sustain. But if that happened to other presidents, I mean, it's just unfair. And if it was a Democrat president, I'd say that's a terrible thing. A thing like that can happen. That's a terrible thing. And it's time to find out whether or not somebody can do that. Can they write a book about very confidential meetings? And, because they happen to be one of a lot of people in a room, and they go out and write a book, and worse than that, call it anonymous, like it's a big deal. And everybody saying, who is it? Who is it? Who is it? Then it was found out who he was a long time later. And he got a lot of publicity off that one. He's like a promoter. But we're going to find out whether or not somebody's allowed to do that. I think it's a very important case, and I think he's guilty of treason, if you want to know the truth. But we'll find out. And I assume we're recommending this to the Department of Justice.
Now, he said all of this. I don't know what executive order he's signing. He doesn't know either. It's not like he read it. He's making gripes about this book. Let's see if Nicole Wallace can fill us in on this.
Accusation there of treason for Miles Taylor, a former official at the Department of Homeland Security. Joining our conversation is the publisher of The Bulwark, host of the podcast, The Focus Group. Sarah Longwell's here. A longtime journalist who's covered Trump for a long time said that after this reversal, having to reverse himself on tariffs because the markets were so bad, they were an embarrassment to Donald Trump. She warned, he'll become meaner. He'll turn up the volume on the retribution stuff and the cruelty on the domestic front. I don't know that there's any correlation. Those executive orders look typed up and ready to go and ready to hand to him. Maybe it was always the plan to do that today. But what is your sense of the political backdrop against which all of today's events have taken place?
First of all, let me just say how insane it is that the mechanism by which he is attacking these people is an executive order. Why would that be? I mean, it's one thing if he wants to be upset or he wants to pursue litigation if he thinks claims have been made, but to sign an executive order attacking these people, especially Chris Krebs. I mean, Chris Krebs, all he did was rebuke the president's false claim that the election wasn't stolen as somebody in his administration. And here's what Trump is trying to do. Look, I don't know how much of it, you never know with Donald Trump. Is he trying to distract you like a guy with a laser pointer and the media is a bunch of cats?
So that's why he's mad. He says talking about confidential. What's confidential about the simple fact that you try to do everything you could to stay in power? So he's embarrassed. Okay. So he said some very bad things, some things that weren't true, and you can't elaborate on anything. Confidential, but not state embarrassing things. Where was the confidentiality of anything that he wrote in the book? I think it should be treason. So do we understand that this man is absolutely nuts, in my opinion?
Is he trying to get people to chase things so they stop talking about the fact that he caved and did a total about face on the tariffs after telling us for days that he wasn't going to do a pause, and now he's suddenly pausing because the world economy is collapsing? Is he doing this as a distraction? I don't know, but on its face, it is incredibly pernicious for him to sign executive orders and launch investigations into people simply for speaking out against what they saw from his administration. And also what he was saying there is, though, it's like highly unusual. Look, lots of books get written by people who are insiders in administrations who talk about the things that happened in the rooms. That's actually very common. That's what reporters do. And what he's trying to do here, though, is to make people afraid of speaking out against him. Not just people from before, but people who are there now. People who have an understanding of what he's doing, and who, as people are looking for insight, he's saying, if you leak, because people leak against Trump all the time. I mean, nobody leaks against Trump more because people inside are trying to make Trump not do crazy things, right? By telling the media he's about to do crazy things. And so leaking is like a mechanism for them to curb some of Trump's worst impulses. And so he's trying to make people afraid by saying he's going to launch investigations into anybody who speaks out. I mean, this is some of the most insane authoritarian stuff we've seen out of him.
Okay, so if you want to finish this story, the link is in my description box, and I'm gonna end with one last thing. If you guys are familiar with, thank you, Very Carey, for putting that up, and thank you guys for being here, and thank you guys who helped me reach my goals. One strange story. If you guys are familiar with Nick Fuentes, he is a extreme right podcaster who blew his motherfucking mind when 4547 did that tariff thing, and people were losing money. He was losing money. He flipped his wig. He's also as the one who said that he would be concerned if he got on the plane and saw the pilot and he didn't have the square jaw. If his name was Jamil, he would be afraid that the plane was going to crash because he wasn't a white pilot, and he would be afraid that the plane would crash. He's also is I'm not going to say a Nazi sympathizer, but he's a Holocaust denier. If I'm correct, he is also a Holocaust denier. He is also one of these. I say he's a white supremacist in my opinion, based upon the things that I've seen him say. So he has went after. If you guys are familiar with Jason Whitlock, Jason Whitlock is one of those black men that they would drag out on the right wing media to at times when George Floyd, Trayvon Martin, and he is the black man that will come up for the right wing media and say how the black person was at fault. When we obviously see what's going on. He's one of those black people. So it is curious that Nick Fuentes was so infuriated with Jason Whitlock that Nick Fuentes came out and said what everybody knows about Jason Whitlock. If you guys are not familiar with Jason Whitlock, I am going to drop his link in the chat, and he has a response to Nick Fuentes, but God knows I couldn't even get to his whole response because he talked about Jasmine Crockett. He talked about Stephen A. Smith first. It was titled he was going to address Nick Fuentes. He saved Nick Fuentes for last, and I don't know what his full response was. I don't even care what his full response is. I know that he is a bootlicker, and I just found it funny. And then he says that black culture is so hard. This is what the black Jason Whitlock says. He talks about black culture being so harmful. What about white culture? You don't find anything harmful about white culture. So he asserts black culture to rap music. Is that black culture? Is that all of black culture? So so these people who were these right wing religious right people, that's not a culture that you're afraid of. You can't denounce their culture of hate towards anybody who is not white or Republican. But okay, so anyway, he's a whole clown in my opinion. So let's hear what Nick Fuentes had to say about Jason Whitlock and the fact that he had the nerve to say that he didn't have the privilege to be born black. This is what Nick Fuentes, the guy who thinks that black pilots are not qualified and he'd be afraid to get in a plane that had a black pilot. He said that he didn't have the privilege to be born black in trying to besmirchify Jason Whitlock. They are two of the same cloth. So let's hear this.
White supremacist, white nationalist, Nick Fuentes, calls Jason Whitlock a token. Jason has an interesting response. Here it is.
And by the way, you are a token. Hey, Jason, you're a token. You are in conservative media as a black guy that can confer upon white people the dignity of not being called a racist for having their views. That's why you get paid. And that's why I don't, because I didn't have the privilege of being born black. I was born white, so there's a limit on what I can say. There's a limit on what I can say without being penalized in the so-called free marketplace of ideas. And everybody knows it. Everybody knows it. Everybody.
So you know how these white people are mad because they can't call people niggers? That's what in my opinion, he says that the racist shit that he says that he's penalized for or people push back on him for is only because he's white. And Jason Whitlock has the privilege of not being penalized for it because he's black. That's his argument. Like Jason Whitlock can say the same thing that he wants to say, but he'll be penalized for it. So it's a bullshit. It's bullshit. He says everything that he wants to say, and more.
Everybody knows, and everybody's sick of it, especially in the conservative space, that blacks have had it easy.
Thinking about starting to run a
God forbid that blacks would have it easy. They have it easy because they are welcoming somebody to disparage blacks. How easy is that? Hold on.
Whoa. Now I got to say this hell must have frozen over because about 50% of what that racist SOB said is true about Jason Whitlock. I do disagree with the other 50%. That's just his bogus bigotry talking. But Jason Whitlock, the man has made a career out of being the antithetical voice as it relates to Black America. He's the black guy who will say the most extreme commentary against black folk in America and beyond. So they roll him out when they need that particular opinion. But there's more. Here it is.
You are playing by a different set of rules, pal. You have training wheels on. You think you've earned it? Everything you have. Take a look around at your studio, your contract, your employees. If you said the stuff that you said as a white person, your ass would be gone. And everybody knows that. You're on Blaze hosting E. Michael Jones talking about the Jews. It's a good thing you're black, because if you weren't, you would have been fired like Elijah Schaffer. Look at everything around you, because you did not compete to get that. You got it because people feel sorry. People don't want to be called racist. They feel sorry. They need a black person to give them credibility.
I say we give them boxing gloves and let them figure this out together. Put it up full mass. This is an ironic situation, ladies and gentlemen, because basically both of them are racist against black people. Okay. This feud started over Whitlock taking issue with what Fuentes tweeted about Whitlock blaming black culture for crimes. All right, this is a traditional go-to line for both Fuentes and Whitlock, okay? So Fuentes tweeted, quote, "So tired of hearing that black crime is caused by black culture. For some reason, rap music doesn't make white people steal cars and shoot people. It only works on black people," sarcastically. In another tweet he wrote, "Just another in a long list of excuses. Leftists blame it on racism and poverty. Conservatives blame it on culture and godlessness. Blacks create the same culture from LA to Baltimore, from Haiti to London, from Sudan to South Africa, or to South African. From prehistory to now, it's race." And that's what a racist would say, okay? Whitlock would respond to the tweets with, quote, "You're every bit as godless and as stupid as your critics say. You're Ray Epps 2.0, point foolish believers into building what will burn them down for eternity. Many of the people captured by the wickedness of black culture can claim ignorance. You know exactly what you're doing. Demon, the enemy is paying people on social media to promote racial division and conflict. The aftermath of Austin, Metcalf, Carmelo, Anthony is a psyop. Don't fall for it. Stand in the word, rebuking the so-called believer, not pointing to Christ." After that, and before we go to what Fuentes said, Brother Whitlock, when you say Christ, are we referring to the white Jesus or the one of color? Because I think that's an interesting point that you and Fuentes may disagree on again. See, there's a lot of daylight between you two. Put it up, full mass. Following Fuentes' video rant, Whitlock would respond to Fuentes on the show. He opened with, quote, "I don't care what Nick Fuentes has to say about me. He can call me any name in the book," and he does. He calls you names out of the book, sir. "I don't care what anybody says about me. This isn't me talking tough. This isn't me saying I have the thickest skin in the world. This is me submitting to my irrelevance, my lack of importance. This is me acknowledging who I am. I'm unimportant. What people think of me is unimportant." Sir, that's the truest damn thing you have said since you have graced the air. You are unimportant as hell. You are one of the most unimportant people I have ever spoken with. Fortunately, Fuentes is a little more unimportant than you. And so this becomes an interesting battle to me, okay? I think you all are evenly matched. He continued. "So when you hear me say," and I say it pretty consistently, "I don't care if people are racist." you literally said you did in the, okay, but let's continue. He did say he's unimportant. All right, he says, "I don't care if people are racist. I truly do not. People can say whatever they want about black people. I don't care. They're not important. What triggers me is when people lie on Jesus." I'm done. I'm trying to get through this commentary. What bothers him is when people lie on Jesus. And what really triggers me is when people lie on Jesus and use something I said to tell that lie. That is what triggers me. End quote. Sir, that question about white Jesus is really important right now, because I don't see you going after religious institutions. And interestingly enough, Jason, you have talked about black folk as a career. And all of a sudden, a white nationalist named Fuentes pulls your card and you start talking about how you don't care what somebody says about you. I've seen you go back and forth with individuals on social media and on your broadcast, but all of a sudden, none of that matters now since Fuentes pulled your card. It is interesting. I would like to see more, rigor, but you guys basically represent the same point of view most of the time. All right. This is a hell of a thing. Listen, man, we're obviously in the twilight zone. Hell is frozen over twice, but here we are. What say you?
Okay, so let me. I want you to hear a little bit of Jason Whitlock before he can get the guts up to even address the white supremacists. I'm gonna let me share my screen. The link is in the description box. Let me cover. Let me. So this is Jason Whitlock. If you guys are familiar with him, you probably have seen him somewhere before. So let's see what he is talking about. Let me see if I can get to it.
Religious tradition for hundreds of years, and by this time we should be smart enough and far enough along in our journey to know there is no value in black culture, and that if we look around at everybody else in America, they're not taking their culture from their skin color. They're taking their culture from the values they say they respect and uphold.
Actually, they're taking everything of black culture, everything of black culture. If I look around, but I don't know what you're saying. But go ahead.
Oh, many people are taking their culture from their religious faith, and they've bought into that. And quite frankly, many white people, whether black people want to hear it or not, have no interest in living up to a white culture because they don't think there's any value in it. In the culture they want to live up to, sometimes it may be secular, but it's family. Hey, we want to be a part of a family culture. There are some that don't. They're feminists, they're leftists, they're idiots, and they reject that. And then many white people are evangelical and take their culture from Christianity. And they try. and they fail like the rest of us. They fall down and make mistakes, but that's the culture they want to adopt and embrace and try to live up their Christian values. There are some black people that try to live up to those Christian values as well, but many black people have been sidetracked. They're trying to live in both worlds. They want to be part black culture and part Christian culture, and you can't do it. It cannot be done. And they will argue with you tooth and nail. Yes, it can.
So white people don't do that, but let's continue.
And we must have black pride. And I'll say, where's that in the Bible? And they reject that. And so there is a problem with the culture. A great number, the overwhelming majority of black people, there's a problem with that black culture that they are hold on to like a religion. And they claim they're not. And they, hey, you can be Christian and you can have black pride. You can be Christian and you can live up to this unapologetically black standard. It's a mass psychosis. And anybody that is a believer in Jesus Christ, and this is where I get sideways with Nick Fuentes. He's pretending to be a Christian. He's pretending to be a Christ is King person, and he's not. Because anybody that's a Christian would be pointing to Christ and not race. And I'm talking about as it relates, because he's trying, apparently, and look, I've listened to people for Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, this is where I want
Austin
you to hear.
Metcalf, Carmelo. I've seen some of his tweets. I hear about this Grapers movement, but didn't know much about it. Well, now he's on my radar. He has come directly at me. He did not by name, but in my view, he's talking about me, and everybody knows he's talking about me. And so I gave him a response that I think is factually true. As I've been telling you all about this Austin Metcalf, Carmelo Anthony, and I'm talking about the aftermath. I'm not talking about the actual murder. I'm not talking about.
So Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony, that is the white guy, football player who was unalived by the black Carmelo Anthony. Let's hear what he has to say.
Carmelo Anthony stabbing this kid for no justifiable reason. I'm talking about the aftermath. The aftermath of Carmelo.
So he already says that this black kid stabbed this white kid for no reason. And I wonder did he get any of the facts of what happened in this case? Okay, let's continue.
Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf is a psyop. The globalists that want to use this situation to stir up more racial division and more chaos and, in my view, provoke a black-white conflict. They feel like Carmelo Anthony is the new George Floyd and that Austin Metcalf is the new Derek Chauvin. And so just like George Floyd overdosed on fentanyl, but the George Floyd worshipers like, oh, he wouldn't have died if Derek Chauvin.
But that's not what the coroner said. That is absolutely not what the coroner said George Floyd died of. So how could they see Metcalf, the dead man, as Derek Chauvin? I don't know, but let's hear.
Hadn't kneeled on his neck. No, the man died of a drug overdose. He died of his own stupidity. He died of his own resistance to police. But no,
his own resistance to the police. Okay, so this is who we're talking about. This is who we're talking. This is who is always on Fox News when things like that happens to people like George Floyd. This is what I wanted you to see.
It was caused by Derek Chauvin. This is what they're doing with Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. They're arguing, no, if Austin Metcalf hadn't bullied Carmelo Anthony would have never stabbed him in the heart. And this bullied thing has been pulled straight out of people's rear end, right out of thin air. There's no proof of that. There's rumors, there's gossip, but there's no proof.
But what the rumor that I heard, and which I am waiting on before I say anything that I believe that happened, is there is allegedly video So I haven't seen the video. I can just state what the allegations are and what each side are alleging that happened. So, but he has it all figured out. Let's continue.
Proof of it. But people are running around and have argued and have put it into the narrative that this was a bullying situation.
So what about the people who are making all of these racial slurs because of the fact that people have decided to much do the same thing that happened with what's his name? The guy, oh man, what's that kid who, not kid, the young teen who unalived those people during the Black Lives Matter thing, Kyle Rittenhouse. Much like Kyle Rittenhouse, who unalives people, and not one person, but two people, and injured a third person. Much like people decided to give to his GoFundMe. Did people go under here? I don't know. I didn't go look for it. I wasn't interested in it. I thought that it was ironic and ironic, but I thought that he would be supported by the type of people he was supported by. But you're so the people who are giving to Carmelo Anthony's GoFundMe, why is there so many racially charged comments under his GoFundMe? So it's okay for Carl Rittenhouse to have a GoFundMe and get, I think it was in the millions of dollars. And why is there so much fucking disdain for Carmelo Anthony, who the last report that I shared with you on yesterday, that he got like $200,000. So how come you not beating the drum about Carl Rittenhouse? Because you're so want to fit in, and that exactly is how you secure a check. You would do anything for a check.
That white kid tried to bully him out of a seat underneath that tent, and he should have went and got an adult. And didn't you hear the rumor that they got in a fight a week or two ago over a girl and blah, blah. There's no proof of any of this. And it all seems very unlikely. My journalistic instincts say that's very unlikely. Maybe it happened, but there's no proof. And all the clues we have so far point to that ain't what happened. What happened?
Well, if you have, I wonder where you got your journal, your journalistic degree from. Your journal. Wait a minute. What am I trying to say? Where did you get your degree in journalism from? Since you're such a journalist, and you want to act as if you are a taught journalist. I wonder where you got your degree from. I really want to know where you got your degree from. And so did you look at both sides of the story? Did you try to obtain this alleged videotape, or are you just talking out of your ass?
What happened was black kid sitting in a tent where he didn't belong. White kid has every right to be like, hey man, at these track events, there's a pattern of kids getting their stuff stolen. They're leaving it in the stands, and people are coming around.
Oh, so now he's a thief. Oh, so now this white dude is just supposed to be like, hey, there's a pattern of stuff getting stolen. So you sitting under my tent, hey, this could be where did you find out that there's a pattern of things getting stolen? I see. So you're such a good journalist with your journalism degree. Where did you get this? Where did this stolen shit come from? But you can. It did it come out of your head, or is this the other side of the story, which you so willingly will accept, but you just blatantly won't accept the story that these white boys were bullies? Let's continue.
And robbing them. And most likely, this part here is speculation on my part, but I would think some of those track athletes from Austin Metcalf School were like, hey, Austin, you and Hunter, we'll be down here competing in track. Make sure none of our stuff gets taken.
Oh, so you just assume that you what in you is so easy to assume that the people who are participating in the track meet is like, hey, how come you couldn't assume that Carmelo Anthony, who is actually on the other track team, who was sitting underneath a tent during rain, wasn't just trying to get out of the rain? But you couldn't assume that. You can assume that that he was a thief.
They see some kid from some school sitting under their tent and say, hey, man, you got to leave. Is
that what happened? Or is that another one of your assumptions, that he was a thief?
People do this all the time. I'll give you an example.
Okay, so the link is in the description box. I'm done with this ignorant ass motherfucker. Thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate your support. Check out my links, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great day, and thank you for being here. I appreciate everyone who helped me reach my goals today. God bless you. Bye-bye.
I really come alive when I listen to my Ronnie. I listen to my Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air. It's time for Ronnie Q. They are rare and they are few who can compare with Ronnie Q. So grab a chair, she's coming through. She's on the air. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie Q. Ronnie Q. It's time for Ronnie in the morning while I'm driving. Ronnie, I really come alive when it's time for Ronnie Q. I listen to my Ronnie.